All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for coming to Convergent Fall 2023 Demo Day. I know I'm excited to see a lot of y'all's pitches and see what y'all have worked on over the course of the semester. I know y'all are just excited to showcase what y'all have worked on. So without further ado, let's get into it. But really quickly, I wanted to shout out this year's executive team. I know they've put in a lot of work putting together this event, other stuff over the course of the semester. Especially Connor here, this is his night with Build Team. But I want to go over the event of the day, the order of the day. First, we're going to get started with a little bit of introduction, a little bit of overview, and then we'll jump right in with our first block of pitches. We'll have a quick 20-minute intersection, which will have intermission, which will have dinner during that time, and then we'll jump back in with block B of more pitches, and then we'll have a little bit of judge deliberation time, and then we'll have what everyone's waiting for, the award ceremony, finding out how everything went. Really quickly to introduce our judges, if y'all want to, just kind of in order of this list, stand up, give a quick introduction about yourself. Go ahead.
My name's Will. I'm one of the I'm one of the founders on one of the Forge teams this year. Journal 365. It's a journaling startup. We're trying to help people who have guilt about not journaling as much as they want to. They finally get the foundational habit of journaling. And this is Kira Parsons. She's also on our team.
Yes, and I have my own startup within a couple semesters who will be in the Convergent Forward program as well. And our goal is to open source scientific peer review and to create an ecosystem for scientists and educators to connect with investors and entrepreneurs and help improve the peer review process. And I'm really excited to be here today, and I'm excited to check out all the amazing work that y'all have done.
Hey y'all, my name is Jenna, and I'm a senior here at UT. I majored in PhD finance with an accounting minor, and I was a product lead here for 4 semesters. I've been fortunate enough to lead teams to get all 5 of the awards and help revamp the product curriculum. So it's really great being here again tonight. Other things about me, currently I'm a TA for corporate valuation with Professor Suri, and I have a background in consulting, so excited to see what y'all been up to.
Hi guys, I'm Anushka. I'm a senior here at UT studying mechanical engineering. I'm also a Convergent alum. I've been involved in the design side of things, so I'm excited for tonight.
Hey guys, my name is Kevin Jacob. I was Convergent alum. I was the vice president of Convergent last year. I'm currently a PM at Relativity Space. I was part of Convergent for 4 years, so really excited to see all the hard work you guys put in.
Hi everyone, Jesse Resch, rhymes with Fresh. I'm the founder of Downland. We help remove barriers and create incentives for adopting regenerative agriculture. Excited to be here. I've worked with the UT Convergent team on public projects. So good luck today.
Hey everyone, I'm Bruce. I graduated from UT last fall. Currently a software engineer at Microsoft, working remote. And yeah, while I was on Convergent, I was a build team lead for a lot of semesters and engineering chair. Yeah, super excited to see what you guys have, and best of luck.
And then we have one more person I want to shout out. He's not a judge, but he's a guest. Smartin's here with Genesis. If you want to talk a little bit more about Genesis and why you're here.
Well, thank you, Ayush. Yeah, I'll keep it short sweet. My name's Smart. I'm a senior here at UT, serve as one of the student directors and deal flow lead for Genesis. For those of you not familiar, Genesis is basically the Awesome Startup Fund. We give non-dilutive funding. So basically it means we give you money, we don't take any equity, and we're really good to help. So we're excited to see all the cool stuff you've done today. We've had a great relationship with Convergent. So yeah, best of luck, guys.
I'm going to pass it off to Connor.
Thank you, Ayush. So I'm going to go over the Build Team program for just a second. Now, most of you already know what this is because you've been through it for the entire semester. But Build Teams is a semester-long product development program where students will go through every phase of the classical development cycle. They'll get experience with tech, product, and design, build one project they're going to present here at Demo Day at the end of the year. So next, I'm going to talk about some of the people who make this program happen, our wonderful leads. So first up, we have the education tech case. The EdTech case focuses on providing students and teachers with new innovative projects that can help them learn, study, and teach, whether it's from K through 12, through adults, through pre-K. I'm going to give a second for the leads to stand up and be recognized. Next, we have the IoT case, or Internet of Things. So this case combines hardware and software to create innovative new products. I'm going to give a second for the leads to be recognized. Next, we have social impact. So social impact focuses on creating products that solve actual social issues, whether it's sustainability or just creating a more equitable world in general. I'm going to give a few seconds for the leads to be recognized. And next we have fintech. So fintech focuses on creating projects in the financial space. So this can be blockchain, entrepreneurship, markets, startups, banking, anything like that. A few seconds for the lead to be recognized. Next, we have the artificial intelligence team. So this team actually focuses on creating products that tap into AI by building their own models. They're going to solve real world problems by building their own models to solve them. I'm going to give a few seconds for the leads to be recognized. And finally, we have the digital arts and media team. The digital arts and media team focuses on creating products in gaming, media, art, news, and more, while contributing back to society and making the world a better place. I'm going to give a few seconds for the leads to be recognized. And finally, I'm going to give a second to y'all, the members who actually made your products and are going to make this night one to remember. Thank you. And a brief second about how this is going to work. So first, I'll call the team to present, and then I'll call this next team up to be on standby. The standby team is going to stand over here or sit in these chairs. And then once this team is done, they'll move off, y'all will move on, and the next team will move into standby. All right, let's get started with pitches.
Can I do one thing quick?
Yes.
I'm gonna take a selfie for my LinkedIn, okay? All right, raise your hands and cheer.
All right, Innovest, you're first. And Jim Traveler, can you come on standby? Yeah, just that one. Okay.
Bro, there you are. You want to get some food? Bro, food? I got no money for food, bro. I got no money, no bread, bro. Like, I've been trying to get my startup to work out, but I can't find any investors, bro. No investors. You know, I was on the phone with my mom last time. I was like, yo, what's up, mom? She was like, bro, you better get this startup working, find some investors, or I'm not going to love you anymore. Like, oh, I just want my mom to love me, man. Like, I'm just a student. What am I supposed to do?
I don't know what to tell you. At this point, I think you should just give up.
Dude, I don't know what you're talking about. I think he can definitely get the money he needs for his startup. Yeah, haven't you heard about that website? Innovest? Let's be 13. I'm Arushi.
I'm Pranav.
I'm good there.
I'm Joyce. This is our agenda for today. To get a preliminary perspective into the world of startups, we talked with 3 different startup founders. We asked them questions such as what challenges do they face and how do they overcome these challenges? As a result, we noted that a key point of interest was funding. Essentially, most, if not all, investor communities are accessed through warm connections. So we got to thinking, if you're maybe a UT student startup like a here, how would you be able to get your foot in the door into these sort of networks? Doing some deeper research, we found that 33% of startups consider funding a top priority. However, a very minuscule amount, only 1% of startups actually end up receiving funding. And so consequently, 75% of student startups do not survive past college.
Overall, our problem is there's no convenient way for student startups to raise capital.
Introducing Innovest. So Innovest. So Innovest is a platform that connects investors with student startups who need capital. So just to take you through the steps of what it's like to get onto our website, first is an application process. This is just to make sure that investors and startups, there are not any like fraud people on the website. Next is connections. So we have a matching algorithm that connects investors to startups, and it will give you a top 5 matches on the website. And as for the investor side, investors can invest in the startups they want to, and starters can use that money that they get to grow.
For our tech stack, we use React to build our website, Firebase to store user information, Python for our matching algorithm, and Material UI so that we could ensure that our React style components were consistent between devices. I'm an investor, and I'm trying to get onto the Innovest application. So I'm going to fill out the application with my information and also upload verification that I'm a legitimate investor. Once Innovest approves of my application, I'll be able to see my top 5 startup matches and also see their updates on my feed. If any of these startups interest me, I can message them on the messaging platform, and also I can view my own profile to put my own updates to what I'm doing. If any of these startups are interesting to me and I want to go donate money to them, I can go back to the matches page and click on their profile so that I can send money towards them. Now, from the startup side, I fill out a similar application where I put in information about myself and also upload verification that I'm a legitimate startup. Once Innovest approves of my application, I can see my top 5 investor matches and also a feed, message these investors, and update my own profile.
Yeah, so now let's get into the business side. So for startups, we believe that we can get around 1,300 startups onto our platform. And for investors, we are currently in preliminary talks with the UT alumni organization, Texas Exes. And after speaking with them for a bit, we found that we can get around 50,000 investors onto our platform. And if we partner with them as we hope to, that number will be even higher. So next, let's jump into the competitor analysis. What makes Innovest so unique is that it is the only website that offers legitimacy verification, a matching algorithm, and crowdfunding all in the same space. Now, let's talk a little bit about the revenue model. So after speaking with several Austin area startups, many of which are UT student-run startups, we found that a 2% commission is a reasonable amount to take off of the investment, as nearly all of the startups said that they would be okay with this amount stacking on top of a 3% transaction fee. So using that 2% commission, we did some revenue projections and found out we will make around $230,000 just within the first year. So lastly, I want to talk about some future steps. So obviously we want to continue expanding our UT base, getting as many users onto the platform as possible, but we also want to expand to other campuses, tapping into their alumni networks and startup networks. And finally, we want to implement new methods of investment into Innovest, such as line of credit, equity, loans, and several more, so that we can make Innovest the one-stop shop for your investment needs.
I guess I was wrong, Kathir. I guess there is a way for you to make money for your startup.
I guess so.
Thank you.
What is y'all's way of getting investors onto the site?
So yeah, our investors will completely be alumni investors. So that's what we were talking about with the Texas Exes organization. They already have alumni that donate to UT Austin as a whole. So we're going to approach them with our idea regarding investing into student-run startups. And as I already donate to UT as a whole, I'm sure they would definitely be interested in investing into students directly by funding their startups. We've already gotten in contact with Texas Exes and we've had some positive results.
You said you guys will do verification for valid startups. What exactly does that entail? And wouldn't that process stop scalability because that takes a lot of time to do manual verification?
Yeah, so we're just basically looking for something simple like an articles of organization, something to prove that they're legitimate, because we'd rather take that extra time than have illegitimate businesses on our startup and then scams happen through it.
Walk me through your revenue projection.
Yeah, so that begins with financial assumptions. We basically calculated based on how many investors or startups we believe we can start with, as well as how many we think we can gain for the second month. Through that, we did user projections over here, just through an exponential growth model and saying where we meet our goal startup count as well as goal investor.
Then based on the investor count, because that's where the investments come in, we do our revenue projection. So basing off the investor count, we multiply that by the average investment per startup assumption that we had from the link. And then we multiply that by the 2% commission fee we believe we can use, and then that would be the total revenue.
So why did you use the average investment per startup? Because is there like, maybe because it is a student run startup like group, is there potentially going to be a deviation from that average? So is this do you think you're overestimating or underestimating assumptions?
I believe that based on the assumption in the link we were looking at, it said between 5,000 to 10,000. So I think we used it on the lower end just because this is a student startup.
Yeah, and also the data that we used is like the amount that investors that would be like UT alumni donors are donating to the campus. So that's like what we based our information on. Yeah.
That's all the time we have for questions. Thank you, Annabeth.
Hello everyone, good evening. My name is Tanya. My name is Sonia.
And my name is Satvik.
And today we wanted to show you guys the #1 way to discover international music, Tune Traveler. So starting off, how many of y'all have listened to Despacito? Yeah, that makes sense since the song was streamed almost 3 billion times. So since we all know Despacito, why don't we sing it together? Ready? Despacito. Okay guys, I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know the words to this song, and by the looks of it, most of y'all don't know it either. Now, there's a really simple explanation to this. If you look at the top 3 Spanish songs in the US, they all have one thing in common. They're all reggaeton songs. Now, what if you're a pop fan like me? But what you guys don't know is that there's a huge world waiting to be discovered of music in different languages. Songs that are personally catered to your tastes, your preferences, in different languages that are simply just waiting for you to find them.
And this is where we came up with our problem. Music listeners branching out to find new songs in international spaces are not being able to find songs that are curated to their own personal tastes. Meet the team behind Tune Traveler. We found 3 common problems within our space whenever we were conducting user interviews. As you can see from the chart at the very top, 100% of our users find difficulty in finding international music in their specific streaming services. This could be Spotify, Apple Music, or many other streaming platforms. And they find that these services do not do an adequate job as their current algorithms just keep spitting out the same music recommendations over and over again, not really thinking to include different things from all over the world. We also found within these streaming services today, there are a lack of social features, which causes there to be not a great community of music listeners, which is a huge communication gap between people who want to just find new music and also people who just want to interact with people who have similar interests to them. This leads us to our target market. We found that 80 million people within the United States, which is about 1/4 of the population, would be interested in finding international music.
Coming to a demo of our app. So if you're a first-time user, obviously you're prompted to log in first. After that, you're asked to choose your favorite artist. In this case, our user chose Taylor Swift and Kanye West, 2 people who made each other very famous. Then you're prompted to choose the favorite songs from one of your favorite artists. And at this point, using these songs, our app uses the Spotify API to generate a playlist that can be translated into different languages. And once you chose the language of interest, you save that playlist to your own playlist, and that launches a social forum. So we have a globe feature on our social forum in which you can add friends throughout the world. And once you click on your friend's icon, it shows you the playlists and songs that they themselves like, and you can add this to your own playlist. And this bridges that communication gap of people across different platforms and achieves the goal of our app.
Now, how exactly does Toon Traveler make money? We have 3 sources of revenue: ad revenue, a subscription plan, and venue partnerships. Starting off with ad revenue, we wanted to introduce targeted ads, and this is also a great way for smaller artists to really get their name out there. We also wanted to offer a subscription plan priced at $1.99 a month, which essentially offers our users with premium features. For example, ad-free streaming, access to creating unlimited playlists, and access to all social features. Finally, we wanted to look into venue partnerships. So if our app is sort of promoting an artist that is having a concert in the area, we wanted to see if we can connect with ticket sales services and potentially earn pay-per-click revenue through that source. Now, how exactly is Toon Traveler so unique? We are personalized to a level that is far surpasses our competitors. We truly want to get to know our users and cater their music recommendations to their uniqueness. We also wanted to look into how we are unique with our social features. Now, I personally use YouTube Music and Sonia uses Spotify. So with our different streaming services, we can't really connect. Through Toon Traveler, however, you're simply connected through your music preferences and not what streaming app you use. Finally, through Toon Traveler, you're exposed to different languages. You get to really bridge these cultural barriers and get to know people regardless of what language they speak, just by your love of music. Now, looking into some of our next steps, we really want to expand upon our social features, expanding our forums, and also implementing Music Pen Pal, which would essentially match you with another user that has a similar profile makeup to you. We also wanted to look into editing playlists and lean into the language learning capabilities of our app by implementing a translator so that you can learn languages while listening to music.
So now, everybody, let's grab our passports, our headphones, and let's connect the world and travel the world together with Toon Traveler. Yes.
Yeah, so since this is like a separate streaming service, you guys have to like obtain rights to these songs, and like how would you plan on doing that?
So you don't actually stream songs through our service. Rather, we generate playlists for you and you can import them. So we're looking into kind of implementing just demos of each song if you want to know what it kind of sounds like. And for demos, that wouldn't really be, there wouldn't be any problems with copyright issues since it would just be like 10 seconds of the song. For example, if you go on Instagram and want to add something to your story, you're not going to get like copyright stricken just from the little demos they have. So it'd be something similar to that.
Got it.
And then does it give you the playlist that it recommends on a popular service like Apple or Spotify?
So it generates a playlist in our app, and then you can import it to whatever streaming service you use. So we don't want to limit to people depending on we noticed that 87% of our users are on Spotify, but we don't want to limit it to just one streaming service. So you just import it to whatever app you're using.
Are you guys considering doing high fidelity? And so what is your current screen for when you're looking through your music, like your album list or whatever?
So yeah, we have like a profile that like basically has all your saved playlists. So you can like click through that, and if you don't pay this like premium, the subscription plan, you only have like a few playlists saved because you don't have access to unlimited playlists. That's kind of how you open up the app, and then our main kind of like connection features are through our social tab.
How are you gonna assess your engagement metrics? Like maybe somebody tries this out, but then how can you tell if they're still engaged maybe after 3 to 6 months?
I think we would possibly do that by seeing how many playlists they curate and also see if they actually decide to subscribe to the forum. We really decided to make our subscription service because we wanted to see if they would be more inclined to the social features and see if that increases customer retention, because our app is different to the others because it does foster that gap between communication of different apps.
How built out is the app right now? And this is something you probably should have asked the other company too, but how built out is it? Because I didn't see any screenshots really too much.
I can flip back to our demo, but if you want to explain how.
Okay, so basically, kind of basic way of explaining the logic behind it. So currently, I mentioned how we use the Spotify API. So what the app does is like, once you log in, like as soon as you put in your music preferences or whatever songs you like, the way the Spotify API works is that each song has like a range of metrics that it uses that are quantified with numbers. And so these metrics quantify things like tempo, beat, style, genre. And so what our app does is there's a model in the back end that takes these metrics, and it's a beta version of the app, but it just spits out similar metrics and matches those metrics to existing songs in the Spotify API's database. But it's like a very basic build out version currently.
How does it match when you put Taylor Swift? Is that something that's part of the Spotify API that you put an artist? And
Yeah. So once you
ones?
select Taylor Swift, right? So there's like like the API gives you access to your database, and so it'll go into database the portion of the database that has Taylor Swift songs, and it'll take out like the top 10 like most listened to songs. So like if you look at our demo, I don't know if you missed it, but it shows you like the most popular songs from Taylor Swift. Because we're kind of like at this point, since it's a beta version, we're like generalizing it. But once you put those once it spits out those top 10 songs for you and you select them, it takes the metrics from these specific songs, and then it uses those metrics to recommend whichever songs you'd like to listen to.
That's all the time we have for questions. Thank you, Toon Traveler. So happy to stay much. Halfway here. All right, cool.
Patients die every day due to a lack of access to proper care because hospitals are overworked and understaffed. This problem can be seriously mitigated through an effective and efficient way to track risk of patient readmission. Before I talk a little bit more about our product, meet our team. My name is Nisha. I'm Jordan.
I'm Anoop. And I'm Rohan.
Most hospitals in the United States do actually track patient readmission rates. In fact, we found that on average, hospitals that start tracking their patient readmission rates see a 15% reduction in readmission rates within just 3 months of having started to track. Also, since there are very, very few AI readmission models on the market today, we were able to find that hospitals that do currently have these AI readmission models implemented were able to see a 15% increase in both the accuracy and the efficiency of their patient readmission. Hospitals need more accurate patient readmission statistics because it leads to lower costs, healthier patients, and more efficient hospitals. This was also reaffirmed through user interviews with local doctors who told us that it's really important that they have a simple and easy to follow user interface, as well as easy access to patient follow-up information.
Along with the necessity for follow-up information that Nisha was discussing, research in this area has demonstrated that just a follow-up phone call after discharge can reduce patient readmission rates by up to 50%. That's why we've created Syncura, an AI-powered readmission solution that allows hospitals to not only assess their patients' risk of being readmitted, but follow up with high-risk patients faster and easier. Let's see Syncura in action. This is our homepage, which has a sleek and simple layout to allow for quick and easy access of discharged patients, sorted by their probability of being readmitted. When we have a new patient, we can go ahead and put them on this form, which collects the data that our model uses to predict their readmission rate. You can see we've pre-filled it with John Doe's information. Once John Doe has been discharged, we can submit this form and now see him on our homepage. Within John Doe's information, we can see his 99% probability of getting readmitted based off of our model, as well as his contact information and recommendations for a follow-up to allow for quick and easy access by doctors. We can also see the other information that was inputted on the form. And once we have followed up with John Doe, we can archive him from the system and now see our updated list of patients to follow up with.
Next, I'll go over the different elements of how our product works. First, we focus on a robust data set. Although it's hard to find data for medical information, we were able to find a good data set with 100,000 different data points from 140 hospitals across the nation. This gives us something robust that we can build off of, and we focus on a lot of steps in data cleaning. First, we focus on removing any insufficient data. So with this, we condense our data points and things that are more robust. Additionally, remove anything with outliers. Outliers are biased, so training our model would have less bias within it. And finally, we tried to condense how many features we were using. In doing so, our features have more predictive power. We fed this all into a neural network that was doing binary classification and would identify patients that would either be readmitted within 30 days or not. And we explored nonlinear trends within our data. We wanted to expand on this further, so we use a natural language processing model that, given electronic health records for specific patients, it can identify specific risk factors. For example, things like smoking, history, or medications that doctors can follow up on for specific patients. Additionally, looking at user interviews, we realize it's really important for our app to be very sleek and faster doctors to use. Because of this, we focus on a simple user interface that does almost all the work for doctors and makes it very simple, and doing so gives us a competitive advantage compared to others.
From here, I'm gonna go ahead and take the lead on talking about strategy. When it comes to strategy, we want to start with our target market, because without a target market, who are you really selling to? We're able to find that there's 12,100 total hospitals and insurance firms across the United States that we're going to use for our TAM. For our SAM, we're able to find that there's 2,650 small hospitals in the United States that are looking to incorporate AI into their readmission softwares. And for our SOM, we're able to find that there's 1,860 small hospitals within the United States that want to incorporate AI into their readmission softwares, but haven't yet done so. It's a pretty large number in comparison to our SOM, and that's really because it's a new market that there aren't many competitors in the space yet. To go ahead and attack that SOM, we've developed a 3-step go-to-market strategy, with the first phase being focused on proving the efficacy of our product, the second phase being focused on solidifying our position atop the market, and our third phase being heavily focused on expanding product reach and feasibility to many, many clients. For the sake of time, we haven't went into too much detail here, but please ask us questions about it towards the end. We're going into our pricing. We have 2 different models. The perpetual model is actually the pricing model that is the industry standard, but it's starting to move out. And within the medical industry, a perpetual model is actually only 10 years, which is kind of weird. But our perpetual model is going to include implementation, but there are going to be additional fees, with monthly fees, almost like server hosting fees, almost like utility fees. There's also going to be software assistance and model consultations that will come at an additional price. Our preferred model is going to be a subscription-based model that's going to sell at $5,900 a year with no additional costs included for whatever the case may be. With the widespread adoption of Syncura, we can help hospitals cut costs, increase efficiency, and overall save lives. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to our presentation. We're welcome to take any of your questions.
I have to ask, what are your competitors like in this space with AI for this particular purpose?
There are very few competitors, and even the data we've been looking for at the moment, most competitors have said they're still trying to do that phase 1 of what we're doing, is trying to prove efficacy. And most products, like we said, have started to do so, but are still kind of trying to get to the point where they have a full product that can be in multiple.
Okay, and how built out are you? How about that?
We have a preliminary model that's built based off of backward-facing data, and we're hoping to get forward-facing data by offering our product to hospitals at the beginning for free. But I will go ahead and pass it on to some of our tech leads to talk a little bit more about how built the product is.
So yeah, currently how built out our product is we have a data set that's publicly available for the neural network part. That's just used for identifying which patients will be readmitted or not. Something that a lot of competitors don't have is a natural language processing model. That does a lot of work for the actual doctors. It will give them specific things, specific risk factors that they should build off of and follow for patients specifically. And that's like a really strong competitive advantage we have compared to those who are just testing efficacy.
Could you walk through the natural language processing part? Like, what is it? Like, say it's a ChatGPT, like what text data is coming in and what output is it?
So it takes in electronic health records. The data set we're using is about like 1,500 of those are specifically diabetes patients. And it tries to find specific entities related to, well, for now it's risk factors related to like cardiological stuff. So for example, there's things like smoking history, various risk factors specifically associated with that. We try to find specific keywords related to like medications or things like smoking history, family history, etc. And we flagged those specifically, and those are the risk factors that we would like base it off of.
And to build off of that a little bit, the reason we wanted to include something like this is because through consumer surveys with doctors, we're able to find that the biggest issue with readmission softwares at the moment is how difficult it is to use. With a natural language processing model that can go through prior patient data to assess the risk of patients on its own without the doctor having to go through and fill in every single thing about a patient, it makes it a lot easier for them to use, and the risk is already kind of there for it.
A lot of discharge processes are handled by nursing staff. How are they involved in your customer discovery or product discovery?
When you say product discovery, would you mind expanding on that?
Were nurses involved in your
customer discovery process?
I mean, they're gonna be involved in inputting that information, but this is all gonna happen kind of after a patient has already left the hospital. So it could really be nurses, doctors, whoever it may be, but the hope is that once our product is fully built out, they won't need to do that because our natural language processing model is gonna be able to do that.
We just have one more question. Okay, when dealing with medical information, a lot of systems like Athena and other healthcare provider data sets, they require a certain amount of like security because of like compliance and stuff like that, beyond redacting the information, but also like encrypting and stuff like that. So you guys will be processing information. So will you guys be effectively like also encrypting that information while you process it, or?
Yeah, so with that, we are in a minimal viable product right now, so security hasn't been our main focus. Obviously, it's something that needs to be built out. And the way we found that a lot of hospitals are doing this is by having specific areas for their servers and specific server hosts that you have to run software through. So that's going to be our plan as far as kind of where we're going to store our data. When it comes to encrypting it, obviously we're going to have to encrypt patient data, but we haven't kind of gotten that far because we don't really have forward-facing patient data.
Yeah, the data sets we currently work with are publicly available. There's just been confidentiality with them, like anything related to identification removed. But when we expand past that, we would have everybody encryption and everything.
Awesome. Thank you, Sakura. And then can I have Simon come up? Yeah.
Guys, I got some really exciting news. I just got an offer to play football at St. Edward.
Aren't you like a 2-star?
Actually, I'm a 3-star, and it doesn't matter. I'm gonna make it to the league with this opportunity. What? Copy that.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna make it to the league with those hands.
It's okay. I don't have any time for academics. I can only focus on football.
Pause. AJ isn't fooling anyone here but himself. Let's take a closer look at our 3-star recruit. He has high aspirations for the NFL and no backup plan. The problem with that is that only 5 active NBA players right now came from a D2 college. That's less than 1% of the NBA. Only 1.9% of NFL players came from a D2 college, and only 2.6% of MLB players came from a D2 college. It's not looking too good for AJ right now. But he's not alone. A lot of student athletes are like him. They put all of their focus onto their sport and try to get the best that they can at it, and they put academics on the back burner. Come time for graduation, they look up and they have no professional offers and they don't know what to do. This is where Pathly comes in. My name is Ashley and this is our team. Pathly is an online learning platform facilitated by schools provided for their students that helps them pivot in their careers. It comes with a customizable design and color scheme so that each school can tailor it to fit their school colors and their mascots. We've talked to real student athletes here at UT and they agree that Pathly would be a great help for smaller programs such as athletic programs at D2 and D3 universities. Pathly is an online learning platform guided by 3 learning pillars. First, students will explore their different interests and hobbies and find out what careers are best aligned to that. Next, they'll have a curated curriculum to help them learn these specific skills that will drive them towards their chosen new career. Lastly, they will be mentored and connected with different alumni and companies that have so that students like AJ can talk to people that have been where he is now and talk to them about how they got to where they are today. Next, we'll pass it off to Akshat to talk about the technical aspects.
Pathway features a quiz that helps recommend 3 career pathways based on the athlete's major, general interests, strengths and weaknesses, and other data. Once the athlete finds a path that they like, they can navigate to the dashboard where they can see a curriculum that's tailored right for them. We built Pathly with a React frontend and a Firebase backend. We use Cloud Functions to host our backend services, Firebase, Cloud Firestore as our database, and also we use the OpenAI API to access a large language model, which is GPT 3.5 Turbo, that helps us process quiz data recommend career pathways, and also create a tailored curriculum plan just for the pathway.
Looking at our demo, when AJ first logs into our website, he'll be greeted with a home page where he'll have the option to select Take the Quiz button. When he takes a quiz, he'll be asked about his major, interests, academic hobbies, social skills, and timeline. After he goes through the quiz, we'll process his results using the GPT model, and we'll populate the top 3 careers recommended for him based on his results. He'll have the option to select one of them or explore other options. Clicking one of them, he'll be given a broken down lesson plan that matches his selected career, and he can access any of these links through our website. He can begin learning as soon as possible, or just return back to the app whenever he wants to continue where he left off.
Now let's delve into the business aspects of Pathly. There's 745 D2 and D3 colleges in the nation, 28 of which are in Texas alone. Taking a look at our competitors, we noticed that they all lack in some aspect in comparison to Pathly. Some of them are not career-oriented, some of them are not trained or targeted for athletes, and none of them are AI-driven. Additionally, we're going to target colleges and universities so that we have an incoming influx of students with the rising freshman class. The next steps for Pathly are to expand geographically, globally, and nationally. We're going to set up our mentorship program to facilitate athlete-to-athlete learning, and we're going to be setting up partnerships with the NIL.
With an online learning platform like Pathly, student athletes like AJ can become more than simply just athletes.
Looks like I just caught my new career.
First of all, great design, and I do see the problem. It's a pretty big, well-known problem at school. Trying to make something to solve it. I'm wondering how different is it than other career development type services that colleges are already hosting, and like why would you argue to the college that they should get one specifically geared towards an athlete versus a more generic one?
So the design of our company Pathly is so that it's targeted for the athlete, meaning that we're just reaching out for that niche market that we can hit in the college and university. If we take a look later in our income summary, we notice that the amount that we're taking from each college is 0.05%. This is due to them, D2 and D3 colleges, they don't have as much money for their athletic programs as like a D1 college. So we're taking a very minimal amount of money for them to use this service, and it's helping the athletes out in the world.
To add on to that, I'm assuming that with other career development services, like I think you mean Udemy and other things like that, Pathly does offer those those are the recommendations, but we just help them get to that and figure out what they would really like to pursue, because most athletes are just really clueless on, they see all these options and they're like, we don't know what to do. That's what we found out, and so that's the first thing that we help them with, and then after that we kind of help them with figuring out what they should use to get job ready within the timeline that they've given us.
What are some of the ways that you're planning to re-engage? EdTech traditionally has a really high adoption rate at the beginning of the use experience and a really significant drop off as it goes. Why would people come back to Pathly?
Specifically for the schools and stuff, like we're targeting these schools because they have a new incoming freshman class every year. And so they'll have new students to re-engage with the online learning platform. And of course, we'll update it with like new information for the API to use and make better and more accurate predictions. And additionally, the beauty of like something like Pathly is because a lot of student athletes don't really care until they think it's like too late. So they can re-engage, like they can start in their freshman year, and then come time for like junior or senior year, when they finally do realize they have a problem, they'll come back to the website.
I think I missed the revenue models.
Yes. So this is our revenue model. It's a B2B process, and we'll sell to the schools, and it's based on their own athletic budget. So it's tailored to each school and like what they can pay out of pocket for it, like based on their existing athletic budget.
I have one more question.
I guess my question is about how are you going to measure impact? Because at the end of the day, you're recommending them opportunities, which I think is a really great idea. But how are you gonna measure the actual tangible impact you're making on them? Whether or not they find out how much of that is due to this platform versus due to maybe other resources that they may already had in the past.
So we're gonna be implementing some key metrics and we're gonna keep a record of them inside of Pathlead, which the colleges will update as they get notified of this information. Overall, we want the athletes to succeed as well as we can, and this is just an opportunity and available platform for them to facilitate that growth in their career.
You can also see like the click-through rates to the different like steps in each of the curriculums that are planned for them. So if they click through to like the last step, then we know that they've like committed to this like curriculum that was built for them.
Thank you, Pathlead.
Hi everyone, we're Summit, and to just sum it up, we want to help you find food fast. I'm Isabel. I'm Leon.
I'm Rohit. I'm Shreya.
And we want to put our own member Jesse on the spot because we hear he has a date coming up soon.
Oh, great. Now everyone knows I have a hot date. Yeah. So I met this absolute dime piece in class the other day. And I really wanted to take her someplace nice, but I don't know where.
You tried looking online yet?
A little, but there's just so many restaurants and I'm overwhelmed having to read all these reviews. I wish there was some way to save time.
And Jesse isn't alone. For user research, we found a few common problems. One problem is that reading reviews can be quite time consuming. Jesse looked up date night on Yelp and was hit with over 240 results. With date night right around the corner, he just doesn't have time to look at every single restaurant. Another problem we found is that reading reviews can be quite overwhelming. He clicked on Loro, a popular date night spot in Austin, and found that there were over 2,000 reviews. So many different opinions and so much text to read, it's just quite overwhelming. And another issue we found is that it's quite hard to filter through reviews. There's not really a way to do this, and he just cares about a place with good food and good ambiance to impress his date and doesn't care about all the extra information. And to put it more into perspective, you see that 98% of young adults eat at least once per week, and over 86% say that the reviews they read impact where they choose to eat. And that's why we're on a mission to save time with specific restaurant review summaries.
So to solve this problem, we created an AI-powered phone extension that allows users to see review summaries for food, ambiance, and service. We've created a product that takes the reviews of a restaurant and creates a comprehensive summary that encompasses the most popular opinions and comments about the restaurant. This allows users to have just a short amount of information to read and saves them lots of time. Not only do we provide a general summary, but we also allow users the option to narrow it down even further, filtering to find specific summaries about food, service, and ambiance. This allows them to prioritize their specific needs in their search.
When Jesse is looking through all these different restaurants, he doesn't want to have to read every single review on the page. With Summit, all he has to do is click in the top right for our easy-to-use integrated Chrome web extension experience. He's going to get to see the general summary, the food, the ambiance, and the service. This is great because we're all rooting for Jesse, and this way he's going to be better prepared and much more informed to find that perfect restaurant for his lovely lady. Our goal was to create an NLP summarization model with transformer architecture. We wanted to create good quality summaries, but also in a cost-effective manner. We started out by looking at real user review data sets, and we ultimately settled on the Yelp data set because this food review purpose matched ours. We started out by cleaning the reviews and then filtering them by the usefulness rating and by the amount of content in each review. Then we moved on to model inference and prompt engineering with many different types of models to create our desired summary format as you saw before. We tested with text generation models, summarization models, conversational models, and instruction-based models as well. Next, we created our own custom data set which mapped restaurants with their own restaurant summaries. And finally, we fine-tuned on top of a smaller summarization model using this created data set. By fine-tuning, we kept all the English and semantics components of the summarization model, but trained it to fit our exact food summary purpose.
Now for the business portion of it. After conducting user research, we've discovered that over 2 billion people shop online. Around 30 million people use apps and sites to discover restaurants. And similar to Jesse, 214,000 young adults eat out each week. For our model, we chose a freemium model with our base model being called Hill. Hill is free for users and still provides a general summary of the restaurant, with our premium model being called Summit. Summit, for just a cheap price of $10 a month, not only provides a general summary, but also a categorized one based off of users' filters. Our competitors in the market are Embed Social, which although provides a general summary, comes with a hefty price of $30 a month. And we have OpenAI. OpenAI provides both the general and the categorized summary, but their model is 100 times bigger than ours, making them a lot more expensive. And finally, we have Summit. Summit provides both the general and the categorized summary for the cheap price of $10 a month, making it affordable for all users. Our go-to-market strategy consists of 3 major steps. The first one being reaching out to influencers and campus ambassadors, followed by posting on social media such as TikTok and Instagram, and finally, word of mouth. Our next steps are to use data from images and reviews from third-party sources to help summarize our reviews, and finally, build an API for Yelp and other types of companies to give users a more integrated experience. And just to sum it up, Summit helps foodies find food fast.
And thanks to Summit, I got a second date.
Any questions?
How are you planning on motivating your users to spend $10?
Yeah, so after conducting user research, we've discovered that a lot of people would pay around $10 to $15 for this. And after doing our market research, we've realized that $30 is a lot for users to spend for this type of thing. So we realized that users are willing to spend $10 to save this time and effort and find a second date.
B2C is super hard. Have you contemplated how this business or the technology that would pivot to a B2B?
Yeah, so right now we are doing B2C because we want to make sure that users like it and will use it. And then soon after, we'll use a API and give it to Yelp and other types of companies. So they'll be able to give users a more integrated experience, allowing them to use fewer clicks and eliminate the need for a Chrome extension.
And that'll allow them to do not just restaurant reviews, right? Other reviews as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How do you plan on making your go-to-market strategy sustainable? Because I feel like if you're just asking TikToker like post an ad or like sponsorships, that would quickly fizzle out, or you're gonna have to continue paying them because they may be greedy. How's this gonna be sustainable?
Yeah, so our goal is to reach out to food influencers. So the entire page is just based off of reviewing food and things like that. And then we'll also reach out to campus ambassadors like football players and football stars, which will be our target audience, which will allow them to also relate to this type of thing, and which will prompt them to want to motivate our app.
So with our age range being a little more specific, we hope that it'll kind of grow out of it and more people come into it, and more influencers in that space will target them and kind of grow as people age in and out of it.
How do you get the data? Is like when you're on that page, is it just the reviews that are currently loaded, or is it like querying from an API?
So right now we're using the Yelp academic data set because Yelp doesn't allow you to scrape from their page, or their API only allows you to have 3 reviews per restaurant. So in the future, as we move to a B2B and have this API where other review sites could use our technology, we would get access to their data set and we'd be able to use it fully.
Time for one more question.
I think the design's really beautiful, but a lot of what you're leaning into here pulls me to an outdoor brand. What made you sort of land on this brand identity?
Oh, so with Summit, we kind of looked like kind of summarizing some sun is, and we wanted to take that into it and have a fun design with it. And then also we didn't want it to be food specific because we wanted to do other things, product reviews, movie reviews, other domains as well, and we want to be more broad.
Great. Could you maybe just add like maybe 1 or 2 other domains where you find a use case for it?
Oh, movie reviews, one of them, even any place that has reviews, we just want to be super broad. Amazon product reviews are super helpful too. It's a lot of reviews to sit through and.
Thank you, Summit. Hi, Trey. I'm the standby. Right.
Yo, I just finished the draft yet? Bro, draft? The football season's almost over. I'm not talking about football, bro. I'm talking about drafting stocks, dude. Bro, stocks, I've been interested, but it's way too hard to learn. Oh, shoot. I was in the same position as you, but I found a simple and easy to use app called Fantasy 500. Fantasy for stocks.
Hi, I'm Ian, and this is our team. I don't know. It sounds like there's more than one football fan in the room, but just like David here, I'm sure a lot of you aren't aware of Fantasy 500. Through our user research, we were able to identify that new investors find trading stocks to be monotonous. They just aren't willing to dedicate the time that it takes for the routine tasks involved in managing a portfolio. Many also crave a sense of community in order to help them be encouraged to start investing. We were also able to identify that users on investing platforms find that there's just too much information to digest in order to make a wise financial decision. And for this reason, many of these users are too afraid to put in their own money and risk losing it. Overall, new investors need a way to learn about the stock market in a risk-free and engaging environment.
And that's why we created Fantasy 500. All right. Imagine creating a super team of Apple and Amazon and put it head-to-head against Netflix and Google. Similar to Fantasy Football, Fantasy 500 allows users to create a league and compete against their friends by drafting a team of fantasy stocks. Our users can add, drop, or even trade their stocks to improve their weekly performance. Our users, sorry. One second. My bad, y'all. All right. Okay. My bad. Thank you. Okay. One second. Or you can add, drop, or even trade the stocks to improve their weekly performance. Okay. Sorry, y'all. My bad, y'all. It was a bad thing.
Keep going, keep going.
Got it.
Okay. First time. All right. Nick?
You've written down.
No.
You just read it.
Let's start over. All right. Or you can add, drop, or even trade the stocks to improve their weekly performance. Man, my bad, y'all.
Who's next?
All right.
Come back to it.
All right. Fantasy 500 is an engaging and accessible fantasy app that allows novice investors to learn and experiment in the stock market without consequences.
Okay, now let's go through our app demo. So once I sign in, I'll be able to either play with the currently existing league, or I can join a public league, which I'll do now, and I get to start a completely new draft with all my different players on my league. But before I do that, I want to research different stocks and be able to draft them and decide whether or not I want them on my roster. So as you can see here, we have 6 different industry sectors to choose from, and I can choose stocks like Amazon and Apple and add them onto my roster. So once I do that, I can fully draft with my team. And let's say I'm not feeling a stock on my page, I can choose to switch out a stock with a fellow player, like I'm doing here with Ian. And so here I'm confirming my trade, and now I have Google on my roster. I can also see my standing in comparison with Ian and also everyone else on the game, as you can see with our leaderboard feature. And also, if I'm feeling like I want to experience real stakes, I can also go into the wallet feature and put in real money with my league. Also, our game is fully social, so we can also connect with different players in and out of the game by inviting them or connecting them with them within the game as well.
Our no-cost entry gameplay drives healthy social competition as users are inclined to independently research their stock or read our listed news articles. Sorry, I missed.
Mike, this clicker's out. Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Also, here's our tech stack. So we use React Native for the front end development, and we use 12 data for the API to access our stock data. And we use Firebase for the backend development that manages our gameplay.
All right, now on to our competitive analysis. So compared to our competitors, we host a fantasy competition within a risk-free environment that focuses both on community and education. Now, our app is a one-of-a-kind app that actually changes the rules. So our competitors just compare one person's portfolio to another person's, right? But ours, for example, when someone drafts Tesla, no one else can use that stock. Now, because of that, and people are incentivized to invest in other stocks that they might not necessarily have invested in before. Because of this, it gives us a competitive edge against all of our other competitors. Now to our market size. So we find that around 442,000 people in the US for Texas college students are willing to learn investing. Now to our revenue streams. First of all, we have a freemium model. Fantasy 500, the free version of it will have ads like sporadically throughout using it, and we also will have a maximum of 10 players per league. If you pay $3, you'll get no ads, and you'll have be able to join leagues with more than 10 players. And with our revenue breakdown, we find with conservative estimates that we're projected to find around $105,000 in our first fiscal year. Now this app is a catch.
Are you teaching players? How are players essentially learning about this concept? Are they learning kind of like on a trial or error basis, or would they actually like build some lessons?
Okay, so the app doesn't actually teach you investing. Like you'll join leagues with your friends, and so since like you have a competitive aspect, we found that people are better at learning something when they're putting in someone else. So that'll naturally cause people to learn about like stocks and become better at them.
Okay, so I have two follow-up questions to this. The first is, what is preventing like players from clinging onto errors or misconceptions about the market? Maybe maybe they think they have a winning strategy, but it just turns out to be like maybe one of those like data patterns, and just they got lucky and they continue that. So how can you ensure that the winning strategy maybe over like a month or is actually like a good investment concept versus just a stroke of luck?
Yeah, so that's why like our app is better than everyone else, right? Because like people can just like randomly invest in stocks, but you'll see like why your stock is doing worse than the other person. So in our demo, you can see like the percentage of like how much someone's up compared to how much someone's down, right? So like the performance of your stocks will directly show like how well your like strategy is doing.
And my last question is, let's just say somebody's just not having a good quarter, like they just keep losing, and they end up losing interest in investing. How are you gonna like encourage them to like come back in? Because at the end of the day, like investing is a good thing, and maybe people who lose are just not incentivized.
Yeah, that's a good question. So like that's the issue with every other investing app, is that you just do it alone, or you compete with random people just comparing portfolios. But because of like the way we structure our game is that like you're incentivized to compete and do better than your peers. So hopefully through that, like people will remain like focused and like want to invest in stuff.
As well, through our user interviews, we interviewed a lot of people who participate in fantasy football and fantasy sports apps. And many of them reported that even though they don't have the greatest performance, they still keep coming back to check in every single day.
And to add to that, because there's no cost, people can try out different formations to find a new strategy.
Yes. I think you guys mentioned that there's an opportunity to actually invest real money for stakes, right? There's got to be a lot of laws and paperwork and stuff that corporates seem to call on them. So you guys incorporate that in your costs.
Sure. This is it's a tense legal matter when it comes to the line between a game and what becomes considered gambling. But we believe that for our users to have an expertise built on how to interact with the stock market, they need to gain comfortability first and then add experimentation with actual money. So while we do let them invest money into their pot that the winner of the league will take at the end of a quarter, we limit it to a certain set amount that each player will put in before the league starts. And this is not to exceed something like $15 to $20 to make safe gambling rules. And this actually, through our research, we found that it doesn't fall under gambling. It just falls under gameplay.
Okay, and you said that they need to experiment first. They can't instantly join and spend money. They have to do like a round of fantasy.
Actually, they are able to, given that they're able to verify that they're 18 years of age and have a specific SSN.
One last question.
I love this. I've sat in an office full of fintech bros who would do this all stinking day. Have you contemplated what network effects or channel partners would help you accelerate your B2C adoption?
So far, like currently we just want to reach like our locals. So right now our market strategy is to reach us like UT audience, like word of mouth, and then eventually we want to reach like other campuses in Texas. But I'm sure like people that are like into like fantasy football like that, like I'm sure they'll hop in and probably say something about our app. But yeah.
We did mention maybe having ads for like Robinhood and other investing platforms. Share those ads.
Thank you, Fantasy 500.
Ready, you can have Blair come to standby and then. Right.
Whoa, are you good?
Oh,
Dude, did you drink enough water today? Are you seriously tired after running?
now that I think about it, I don't think I drank enough.
Well, maybe you should hydrate.
But what's that?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sheena.
I'm Satvik.
I'm Hannah.
And I'm Ahmad. And this is the rest of our wonderful team. Now, as college students, our minds are pretty busy. From exams and meetings to even what's for dinner at night. And that often leaves hydration in the backseat.
Doing further research, we found that 3 in 4 of all Americans fail to drink an adequate amount of water per day. This leads to not only short-term issues like fatigue and headaches, but also long-term ones like kidney failure and muscle damage.
We discovered that existing products on the market require users to manually log each sip, track their own information, or pay a premium for an entirely new water bottle. That means there's currently no solution on the market that combines automation, affordability, and personalization. So we decided to take matters into our own hands. Introducing Hydrate.
Hydrate is a detachable device suitable for all your favorite water bottles that focus on 3 main features. It can track water intake, notify users if they haven't been drinking enough water, and set personalized goals based on user information.
At its core, Hydrate is an adjustable device that allows you to take any regular water bottle and turn it into a smart hydration tracker. It uses a load sensor to measure the amount of water you've took in throughout the day, and it uses an ESP32 to communicate that through Bluetooth to your phone so that your data on the app is always accurate. We use the Arduino IDE to program our hardware, and we created our app with React Native.
And now what y'all have been waiting for, a demo of Hydrate in action. On the mobile app, users have the option to provide important demographic information like their weight, location, activity level, along with relevant medical conditions. Based off of this, our app will create an attainable, customized goal for our users. Users can keep track of long-term progress through a calendar functionality, which lets them see the days on which they actually met their goal. Now, whenever we have Isha take a sip from her water bottle, we'll see the progress bar change, indicating she's 1 sip closer to being adequately hydrated.
Moving on to our business strategy, we defined our overarching target market as physically active Americans, as we believe they would have a higher propensity to invest in their well-being. We then narrow this down to millennials and Gen Zs to accommodate for more tech-savvy individuals. Lastly, we honed in on our local Austinite to address a more obtainable population. This brought our number down to around 537,000 people, with an eventual goal of targeting around 30% of this population. Doing some further product research, we found that current smart water bottles offer tracking within the product itself, making Hydrate the only detachable option, something that around 86% of potential customers prefer. Furthermore, Hydrate offers personalization, automatic tracking, and reminders all at once, differentiating it from its competitors that only offer one or two of these traits. Additionally, many of Hydrate's competitors offer their products at around $90, making Hydrate a much more affordable option. Now, moving on to our business model, we split up our overall revenue stream into two main strategies. One, where customers buy our products priced at $22.99 per device, and also utilizing in-app advertisements such as pop-up banners and general. So what's next for us? Looking to the future, we aim to implement a GPS tracking system in the device in order to allow potential customers who lose their devices or lose their water bottle to easily track it or locate it, and also be able to locate nearby water filling stations to seamlessly refill on the go. Next, we aim to secure B2B partnerships with college and professional athletic programs such as UT Sports, where our values closely align. And lastly, we aim to improve the design for the external casing of our product in order to make it more ergonomic and effortless to carry around on the go.
Hydrate is more than just a product. It's a lifestyle upgrade, ensuring you stay hydrated in the most tech-savvy and convenient way possible. So remember, don't wait till it's too late. Hydrate! Yeah, so one huge part of our prototype that we wanted to focus on was customization based off the water bottle shape. We figured out the best way to do this in a feasible amount of time would not be to manufacture our own product, but to use existing solutions like a car cup holder. Based off of that, then we were then able to put attachments on the bottom of it that are no larger than the radius of that attachment, so users can still carry this in their backpacks if they want, so that way it's portable and on the go. Nice.
I have a question about your target market. Why did you choose to segment this market based upon location rather than physical activity? Because I know you started off with saying like just like action, like people who do sports and such, but I feel like it might be better to set physical activity rather than just location. Can you guys describe that?
We overall decided to focus on like geography because overall we want this product to be reachable to anyone and everywhere. And also it's a little bit hard to quantify the amount of physical exercise that every individual gets, and it's hard to get statistics on that. So maybe with R&D we'll be able to figure out a different type of target audience, but for now we're focusing on like geography and then also like their aerobic activity.
Yeah, and so the reason we segmented based on just Austin's locals is because it's easier to manufacture and distribute the product locally, because since we do have a hardware product, we have to account for shipping costs and distribution. We figured that starting locally would be the best way to do that, and then we could scale up further capacity.
Could you guys go back to your revenue slide? Okay, so I think most industry standards for selling a hardware device is like you have the device. What made you guys add ads on top of that and pop-ups and just one day?
So we've analyzed existing apps that people use to track water intake. A lot of these apps have pop-up banners, and users, like millions of users, are finding every month downloading these apps and paying a monthly subscription. So we figured if users are already accustomed to such apps, then we're able to tap into more revenue while not really creating extra burden on users. And this is something they're definitely fine with to begin with.
Yeah. So how is it sensing how much water is inside of it? Is it based off of weight?
Yes, so since we're targeted at water right now, we're able to use a gram in weight is a milliliter of water, so we're able to do that direct conversion. So whenever you put your bottle in here, we calibrate it to zero out the weight for your water bottle, and then every gram lost is a milliliter of water taken.
Well, it's really impressive that y'all made both an app and a hardware product. I think obviously there's a long way to go to get it to like slim down and manufacturers and all that. But is there any plan for getting manufacturers and getting it built in a way that would be more of a product for the market?
Yes, sir. So thanks for the question. Like we were saying, one of our future endeavors is to have an ergonomic design. And on top of that, we do want to slim down the actual profile itself. So improving the design as well as the internal electronics to be able to slim it down and make it a much smaller final product.
Yeah, so one way we might consider doing that is if you notice the additional bulk on the bottom of the cup holder, we feel like when we manufacture our product, we can just move our device up to replace this bulk and get rid of all of that unused space. But since right now we're kind of relying on existing products, we can't tailor to our needs. And also for future technology purposes, there's things that are force space resistors and that are much smaller and don't require the same type of bulk that a load sensor would. So maybe if we figure out how to incorporate one of these in our device, it would just be a very small puck-like attachment on the bottom of a bottle. That would definitely make it ergonomic and easier.
That's all the time we have for questions. Thank you. Welcome.
The numbers don't lie. We have a problem. Just last year in 2022, the US Department of Transportation recorded 2,300 deaths resulting from road traffic crashes. This number accounts for over 50% of all traffic fatalities in the entire United States. But the problem with this is that only 19% of the population actually resides in those rural areas. Not only this, but the average emergency response time for those rural areas is a whopping 15 minutes, over 2 times greater than that of urban areas with an average response time of 7 minutes. Now, this discrepancy is clearly unacceptable and something that needs to change. And here's how we plan to do that. Introducing Flare. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ethan. Joining me tonight is Tashar, Nicole, Shrieker, as well as the rest of our wonderful team. Our solution, Flare, is an AI-powered accident detection software that ensures quick alerts to first responders. Our software integrates seamlessly with existing traffic cameras to detect and record car accidents with 95% accuracy. This footage will then be readily available to be reviewed and verified by emergency dispatchers who then can make prompt and appropriate dispatches. Scientific studies have shown that long emergency response times are significantly associated with high mortality rates. And with Flare, we enable split-second emergency detection and response time to greatly decrease the risk of fatality in severe car accidents.
This is a demonstration of the performance of our model. As you can see, our model is highly accurate at determining whether a frame depicts an accident. And in some cases, including this one, our model can even preemptively predict an accident before it even begins to happen. Our model is operated using PyTorch and trained on an online data set categorized from accident to non-accident images. First, to extract this data, we downloaded an online compilation of images from YouTube depicting car crashes from a variety of scenarios. This ensures that our model is holistic in nature and ensures that our model will be able to predict in a variety of scenarios regardless of abnormality. Second, to transform our data, we use a variety of different data preprocessing measures, such as resizing your images to a certain pixel density to ensure uniformity when feeding this data into our model. Finally, to load and train our data, we use PyTorch's built-in data loaders to load our data into our convolutional neural network, which inherently performs feature extraction, learning critical features for accident detection. We use a variety of different methods in this step as well, including specified learning rates and epoch counts to ensure our model yields the highest accuracy rate possible. Our model is 95% accurate at determining whether a frame depicts an accident, and based on our testing hardware, can run these predictions at well over 150 frames every second.
Now let's talk about safety because that's our business. Starting with our target market, out of all cities in the US, there are around 200 with speed cameras. Our focus is on rural areas. So within the cities with speed cameras, 106 are rural, which is our target market. Now let's move on to our direct competitors, which are OwlCam, iPhone crash detection, and Arity. In prioritizing safety, we found 3 key features critical to saving lives, which are detecting accidents, making automatic emergency alerts, and capturing crucial images. OwlCam lacks instantaneously alerting emergency services, and iPhone crash detection and Arity lack visual context. So, unlike our competitors, we cover all bases, ensuring that we save as many lives as possible. Flare instantaneously alerts emergency services, recognizing that every second counts in an emergency. And Flare determines whether a frame depicts an accident for superior accuracy. In addition, our project is also universal, ensuring accessibility to everyone. And lastly, our project is the only one that is tailored towards government use.
Flare charges $15 per month per camera and contracts with rural governments to set the software up. In order to break even, Flare needs to connect with 1,060 cameras. Flare's go-to-market strategy consists of 3 main parts. First, government conferences and trade shows give a place for Flare to showcase the product to government and safety officials. Second, Flare hopes to implement awareness campaigns and attend local town hall meetings to gain crucial support from the community by showing the benefits and the safety of the accident detection system. Third, Flare hopes to connect with insurance companies. Insurance companies are good partners because Flare can help expedite their claims process while encouraging governments to invest. In the future, Flare hopes to develop their front end in order to show users and the government that it is really safe for all customers. Since Flare is all about safety, it also hopes to expand to other accident-prone areas, such as the workplace and other transportation accident areas. Flare hopes to partner with hardware companies to bring tech to more rural areas without the existing infrastructure.
Every second counts. Light a flare. So we actually have a current mock-up of what our UI would roughly look like. So this is kind of what the dashboard for the first responder side would be like. And then every single one of these tabs you see would be a live feed when there's not a detection. And then when there's emergency detection, you would see the little exclamation point pop up and it would move to the top of the feed. And then your first responder can then go and sort through those and then evaluate them.
And then what type of research did you do to kind of develop this responders?
We mainly just looked at what information is most necessary when looking for car accidents, and that would just be time of the accident and then just location, so like intersections.
Yeah, in addition to that, there was a survey that was conducted by the National Institute of Standards and Technology, and basically asking first responders what would make their job easier in terms of incident response. And a lot of them said that they would like the car accident location and also like pictures and videos of the accident.
Is the insurance tied somehow to the license plate? How do you get the insurance?
Sorry?
Do you guys say that you're gonna get the insurance more fast or faster as well?
Yes, well, our project will also help insurance companies because we have video footage of the accident, which expedites our claim process. This makes it easier on who's like more accountable for the car accident.
A lot of the research we did showed that the insurance companies aren't able to expedite their claims process because they don't have actual footage of what's going on. So Flare helps them expedite the process.
I had a question about maybe the operation side of this. So you're talking about rural areas, and since you're like essentially a B to G business, how are you going to mitigate infrastructure problems? Because, like for example, College Station, it's like a one-way dirt road, and if that thing closes down or there's no lights around, even if you alert like maybe the local government, how do you ensure that the patient or maybe the person in the accident actually receives timely treatment? Let's say if this road were to like get washed out, break down, close.
Right, so right now our product is mainly focused on reducing that accident notification time. We're not focused on like getting ambulances to the location. We're mainly focused on alerting those dispatchers.
I worry about the cost of compute because you're gonna have to transfer all those images to the cloud, and that's pretty costly because you're gonna transfer them all before you run the model on it. And a lot of people have to solve that issue by using these edge computing, like NVIDIA computers that are pretty expensive attached to the camera. I feel like the cost is gonna be a real roadblock to the first responder aspect of this, but maybe I'll have a solution for that. So our current model basically is going to take screen grabs of the first responder site and then upload those to our software. And then for CCTV cameras, you can upgrade them to AI, like capable ones, but that's sort of not in our control. And we want to sort of just be able to give first responders something they can use with the existing infrastructure. So that's.
Are there compatibility concerns with the existing cameras that are typically deployed on traffic lights in small towns?
So with typical cameras, they have a very standard set of data that they provide us, and our model is able to adapt to different types of cameras regardless of their resolution, their frames per second. It's sort of as Ethan said, we take a screen grab of the camera itself. So even if the camera were to fail at some point, we would be able to take a screen grab far before that would happen.
Okay.
That's all the time we have for questions. Thank you for.
Teenager, Chloe, you have a presentation of you. Come on.
Oh my god, that's right now? Oh, my phone's getting me distracted from the real things at home. That's why we have the solution. Presenting Double Up, a productivity website focused on building accountability through community. Here's a quick shout out to our team. To start out with a problem, we lead busy lives, and sometimes work and life can be overwhelming. Yet why are we prone to doom scrolling on our phones or procrastinating from what needs to be done? We've learned that people lack accountability for their tasks because they're often easily distracted and would rather allocate their time and energy on pointless engagements. So breaking down our problem into three main areas, we can summarize that through timing. People struggle with time management and allocating focus time versus break time, environments that can be full of distractions, and accountability, where people don't always have a support system at hand to get their tasks done effectively and efficiently.
So the way that we came to understand our user personas pain points was through our own personal experience as college students. We're all familiar with staying up really late the night before and waking up after half the day is already passed, only to try to cram as much work as you can for the rest of the day, but to no avail when you're surrounded by so many distractions in the modern day digital work environment. So the solution we came up with to tackle this issue is accountability through community. And this is founded upon the social facilitation effect, which is a social psychological term coined by Gordon Alpert, who did a bunch of studies back in 1920 that proved that individuals that were surrounded by others that were engaged in similar tasks were or experienced boosts in motivation as compared to people that worked alone.
And to give an insight about our marketing sizing, we are currently implementing a B2B business model targeting hybrid and remote companies. So our TAM is over 167 million people in the US workforce. Our SAM is over 32 million businesses in the US. And our SOM is over 24 million US businesses that have to use or implement a hybrid or remote work model.
So the features that we came up with to implement into our product are firstly a video call session room with one-to-one contact in order to keep each other accountable, as well as a work and break timer in order to reduce burnouts and optimize work time, as well as calendar scheduling for overall organization structure and also accountability for future upcoming sessions.
So here's a quick demo of our product. As you can see, this is our landing page with a split screen with a calendar and a tab to see what your friends are working on. You can set the calendar into multiple views, such as the week view, which you start on, the month view, and the day view.
you can create events from any view. So here we're creating a meeting to study with Chloe for finals. You can set the start and end times from here. So you can see some like typical college student working hours. And so now our event is saved, and you can go to the agenda tab to see all your upcoming events. And when it's time to join, just click join, and it will take you to your session. And then, just enter your name and click join meeting to begin your session.
Awesome. Here we can compare how our competitors measure up when it comes to scheduling, community, and accountability. And as you can see, we are the only service that provides all of the above for our users. And you might be thinking platforms like Zoom or Discord, they're somewhat accountable, right? But no, we reject that. They fall on two opposite ends of the spectrum where, Discord is too casual, too recreational, very silly. And then Zoom is too professional, too stiffy, very forced. And we fall right in the sweet spot where our users are self-motivated to accomplish their goals and succeed. And we're starting off by targeting universities and corporations, and we'll be delivering value by saving companies thousands of dollars per employee every single day by decreasing their hours wasted. And in turn, they'll be paying a subscription fee for using our service, and it'll be adjusted based on their company size. And finally, after we grow our consumer base and grow our revenue streams, we're looking to democratize our productivity resources. And we want to offer new features like adjustable noise levels and more affordable pricing plans, so anyone can have a more tailored and personalized experience with our products. And we'll also be creating a more diverse and inclusive culture where we want to support one another and encourage each other with different initiatives we'll have. And finally, we'll want to keep holding each other accountable and redefine what productivity really means by offering a larger variety of activities that our users can participate in. Now, look to your right and look to your left. Wouldn't you like to
double up?
So on the comparative slide, some of the differentiators you guys had was accountability and social aspect. But how so what makes you guys are the service more differentiate that aspect Zoom or Teams?
So Zoom is not specifically focused towards accountability, unlike us. So we have a we have a calendar for scheduling, which the intent is to schedule with another person. And Zoom, you can do that with just it's just for any meetings. This is specifically tailored towards meeting with one person for accountability.
I guess with accountability, a lot of your problem pain points were when you start working and stuff like that, you start goofing off or not being focused. So even though you are on a call with someone, how does that really solve that issue of you're still communicating with them, get off topic and stuff like that? Is there anything you guys do to further train on accountability?
Yeah, so that's why we have a timer aspect. At the beginning, there will be an introductory period where you're talking to the other person and talking about the tasks that you'd like to complete, basically intent for the meeting. And then after that, you begin your actual work time. And then you actually get to work and have a break after that, which you could keep having conversations after that.
Can you talk more about the B2B business model? How are y'all selling it? What's the revenue model?
Yeah. Yes, let me go to that page first. So, revenue structure. This is how we broke down our different pricing plans compared to our competitors, but also the value that we believe we can give. So we have found that there's calculating like an average work week of like 40 hours. We found that through different research studies that an average of like 3 hours are like wasted a day per person. And that's how we kind of calculated the value and how much we could save companies a lot of money through by using our product.
Time for one more question.
How do users set goals within your experience?
So before, in our Figma prototype, we weren't able to implement this into the minimum viable product that we have, but you are able to have a task list. That's not the right screen, but there is a, yeah, I don't think we.
I can imagine.
Yeah, so you would have the video call session where you would see the webcam of the other person as well as your task list and their task list as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. All right, we're gonna be breaking for intermission. There's gonna be food out in the auditorium. Line up, we're gonna have food distribution. Be back here at 8:05, starting at 8:05. Sure, after the break. We didn't come. I always find it done. Yeah, I feel like actually
Wait, I'm sorry, what?
Oh, yeah, I didn't see.
Yeah, I agree. But that's really good. I just for yeah. So
No, I already know yours. Which of us? They did that for a long time. Started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And matching.
Yeah.
Firing rangers or interact. Really, I'm thinking that capital access. The capital access become a non-compete that needs to age out, and then I have but I know it's focused on.
Wow, that's for regenerative. Yeah, that's so cool.
It's so fun. Like everyone I talk to, I like one of my startups. I kind of like love talking about investors and like great. I love talking to investors.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes, it's so awesome. I mean, I need to like, I realized on LinkedIn recently that I actually want to follow people. I think it's a stupid bell.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I connect with so many people, I'm like, why do I never see them on my feed? And I just like put two and two together the other day. I was like, duh, I need to hit the bell. So do you mind? I'm gonna,
yeah.
have you search yourself.
Yeah.
On my LinkedIn. If you,
I know, I
connected.
We're already connected.
Yeah,
We have
definitely
to
just, Okay.
Yeah. And my name, like, it's not spelled how it sounds, so
Right.
that makes it tough too.
Yes, that was part of the problem, because I was like, because your name actually is very similar to my, the best friend I had in middle school and high school, her name was Jessie Roach.
Oh,
Your
that's
last name,
so
how do
funny.
you pronounce it?
Resh. Like fresh, fresh,
Okay.
resh.
Okay, yes, that's right.
Yeah, yeah.
Can I have safe trade on deck?
Man, what the heck? I just failed my class.
What happened? What happened?
I can't find people to study the same time as me or people to study the same way as me.
Akil, don't worry, you're not the only one in this. In fact, we conducted user interviews to see what was happening with this issue. And we found that 82% of people said they would benefit from joining a study group. However, 87% of people thought that forming a study group was actually very, very difficult. And when we conducted the user interviews, we found that many people said that they were scared and they didn't know how to form these study groups. We also wanted to see the flip side. We wanted to see if this was a real issue by interviewing professors. And we found that they also agreed. They thought that individuals who studied by themselves or didn't study with other people were missing out on peer-to-peer opportunities, and they were raising stress and lowering comprehension. So this led us to the question of how can we form seamless study group formation, but also making it convenient for the professor. Introducing LearnLink. My name is Tihar, and this is our team. So among the many awesome features of our app, the first is that quiz. This quiz, one of the most important parts of our app, gets people immediately on the app, answering fun little questions, and also making it very interactive. They can input their learning styles and their learning habits. Next is joining a new class. So after they take that quiz, they'll have the option to join a class by using a code that the professor will provide. Lastly is group formation. After those users take that quiz, join a class, they'll get put into study groups, and they can immediately start chatting on our app.
All right, now let's talk about the technical aspects of LearnLink. So our app uses React Native for the front end and Firebase for the back end. Now, going a little bit more into the back end, let's talk about the quiz. Now, specifically, the quiz is an entirely novel and incredibly effective step that we propose in the creation of study groups. And to do this, our quiz will algorithmically decide what type of learning style you are based on your answer to our questions. Now, furthermore, we'll be able to determine what other students you'd be able to mesh well with based on similar quiz results, and therefore you'll be able to create study groups that are more effective and perform better.
Now let's dive into a demo of our app. Once Akil signs up for the app for the first time, he'll be prompted to take a 10-question quiz, 3 of which are shown behind me. After that, he'll get his results, which will show him which study groups he most aligns with. After that, he can create and find new study groups, as well as find and chat with different classmates and users.
So now let's dive into the business side of things. So as you can see here, we do have a few competitors. However, none of them match up to LearnLink, because LearnLink is the only application that provides a centralized digital platform that is introvert-friendly, tailored to each specific class, and matches people based off their learning styles. So how do we plan to become profitable? So a whopping 40% of participants in the A/B testing survey agreed that they would be willing to pay a small $2 a year fee for plenty of really useful features, such as real-time location sharing and unlimited file size attachments. And for the rest of our users, they will be able to use a fully functional app where we would be gaining revenue through an ad-based system. So what markets are we looking at? So the market that we can target is going to be all the undergraduate students in America, which is going to give us $34 million. However, our more attainable market that we're focused on right now is going to be the undergraduate student population in Austin. So that's going to constitute the University of Texas at Austin and Austin Community College, and that'll give us $170,000 to work with. So what do we plan on implementing in the future? So firstly, we plan to partner with UT professors. Obviously, this is really important for our operation because with professors sending out these learn links, we will have a really large user base to work with. Next, neural network matching. This is a new technological system that we plan on implementing to make sure that matching is as accurate as it can be. And finally, our scheduling feature. With our scheduling feature, users will be able to schedule sessions within our app, which a large group of participants in the A/B testing survey deemed would be really valuable to have as a premium feature.
So we saw Akil in the beginning. He was having a really hard time. He was struggling. He didn't know how to form this app. But after doing LearnLink, he is much happier and knows exactly what to do. So we found that 87% of people, they said they would benefit from a study group. But right now, only 52% of them actually participate in them. Why is there such a big gap? That's what LearnLink is for. So, judges, let's link together. Any questions?
I have several questions. First off, in your like base for your revenue streams and subscription $2 one, why did you choose to use ads? Because we're talking about studying, so having ads just pop up seems like a bit of a distraction. I just want to hear your thought process behind why ad-based.
Of course, that's a great question. So the reason we chose ad revenue is because the point of our app isn't just to like use the app while they're studying, but it's more of an app to get people to study together and ways to communicate and have a platform for when to form their study sessions and when to find out exactly like when to study in that sort of communication, not something they would use while they're actually studying.
And I guess another question is, so this, I love the purpose of bringing people together based on like learning styles and such. How do you plan to keep people like on the app? Like, I feel like once I find a group of people I think I mesh well with and become friends with, maybe we just take similar classes and we don't really need to use the app any longer. How do you keep people on the app? And like usually a lot of people take the same classes as their friends as they go. So I just want to talk to them.
Of course, that's a great question. And the reason that we're going to get people on this app, keep their user retention up, is through all the chat features and file uploading. You know, among like just forming your friend group and like having a study group, that can come in some sort of ways, of course. Like that's definitely a market right there. But our market is more focused on getting people not only to join the app at the beginning of the semester, but staying on there through such as the chat features, and hopefully we can implement the scheduling feature. That's something that can get really messy right now. I know when you form study groups, one of the hardest things to do right now is actually figure out, when to study, how exactly, like where to study, stuff like that. That's the whole point of our apps, to get people to use our scheduling feature as well to figure out when exactly to study.
So my question was about the learning styles, because from what I understand, the scientific literature started to say that it's a little bit of an outdated model. And so I'm curious to see how you guys are tackling that, and if you guys have any like different innovative ways of kind of showcasing different ways that groups can study together, or maybe even give them some direction there.
No, I think that's a great question. I think a really good way to answer that is first looking at our algorithm. Michael, do you want to kind of explain the algorithm?
Right. So in our quiz algorithm right now, we have each question has 3 answers, and each of those answers corresponds to a different type of learning style. This would be auditory, visual, or tactile. And I know that earlier you said the scientific literature is proving that this is starting to become a little bit outdated. But because of this, like our quiz, the beauty of a quiz is like we can very easily change the buckets. We can very easily change our questions. We can very easily change our answer choices, and therefore we'll be able to adapt with new scientific research that comes out with that comes out with time.
And the research that we also found, like these quiz questions, they're not like you're playing like old like, oh, do you like learning by listening? No, these are fun, interactive questions that you see here. Like when you see the word cat, what do you think of? Like these interactive questions are stuff that you wouldn't like normally think of like as a quiz, and it's more to get people to use the app and have a little fun
like just taking the quiz right in the beginning.
One more question.
Yeah.
Can you walk me through like what would motivate the users to use this in general? Is it the teacher giving this to them and encouraging them to do it? So I'm just imagining it might be hard to get people to actually really want to use it.
Yeah, I think another beauty of our product is the amount of word of mouth marketing we're gonna have right after the first semester, leading on after the first year is awesome. Because you're right, the how we're first using the app will primarily be targeting educators and targeting email outreach to these educators and professors to get their students to actually use that. And once we have that first year, once we have that first month of people actually using the app, that's when the word of mouth marketing is gonna go crazy, where people just talk to their friends. They say, "Oh, did you get the Learn link?" Just like the name itself. Keel, do you want to explain the name?
Yeah, so basically, the code the teachers will be sending out to their students is going to be called a Learn link. That kind of helps with our brand image as well. So people will be like students will be like, "Oh, did you get this Learn link from said professor?" and things like that. And the great thing about Learn link is that our unique value proposition is the fact that this is the first application that groups students into study groups as well as facilitating them. So that'll kind of like incline students to stay on the app and use our features like such as chatting and our video conferencing platform and things like that. So that'll be really good, as in like they could stay on the app for the entire semester, the entire year, or however long the class lasts.
Exactly.
Awesome. Thank you, LearnLink.
And then whoever's having the clicker, stand over here.
It should.
God, can't believe what just happened. Let me call it.
Hello?
Dude, you won't believe what just happened.
What happened?
So I found this $200 PS5 on Craigslist, right? The guy checked out and everything. And then we went up to the location, and then there was no guy, but there was an SUV. 4 dudes jumped out, beat me up, and took my money.
What? You got robbed and beat up? That's insane. Man, like they have an app that could kind of stop this from happening, right?
Yo, what's it called?
It's called Safe Trade.
Our application, Safe Trade, aims to create secure peer-to-peer transactions for students. Our team consists of me, Jessica, Mahek, Chenny, and Sid. So our problem statement that we started with is that UT students need a better way to ensure that their peer-to-peer transactions are safer because there's a high probability for fraud. Through A/B testing, we found that 45% of students hesitate to meet strangers for transactions, 48% struggle to find a secure meeting location, and 76% couldn't find a buyer or seller for their products.
As you can see, compared to our competitors, UT Safe Trade offers many more features such as campus convenience, accountability, a UT focus, as well as safety. So some of the key features of our app include UT EID verification, as well as a safe payment method and safe location meetups all around campus.
And now we'll jump into a live demo of Safe Trade. And as you can see here, Sid, he's going to initially try to attempt to create a Safe Trade account using his personal Gmail, but safety is the #1 thing at Safe Trade. So we prevent him from doing so, and he's then required to use his UT EID to fully successfully register for a Safe Trade account, and he will do so now.
And upon using his UTE ID, he's then able to successfully enter SafeTrade and be redirected to our main screen, which he is able to browse through a plethora of different products. And he finds a pair of Reebok shoes that he likes. And now he's able to hit up the seller, find a good time for him to be able to complete this trade, and also finalize everything. And SafeTrade has a very streamlined process for that. We have incorporated a map with safe locations to trade on campus, as well as certain dates, as well as times that both the seller and the buyer can work with. And now Sid's able to complete this request, and then the buyer will be able to receive it, and they can negotiate a deal from here on out. And now taking a look at our tech stack. We implemented React Native as well as Firebase for the sake of implementing new features in the future. And this also streamlines the entire process of deployment.
Okay, so now let's get into some of the finances that makes SafeTrade possible. So initially, our product release is primarily going to be targeting users that might be coming off of like Snapchat stories that they're using to trade, maybe Instagram or word of mouth, and might have potentially been scammed, right? We're going to go immediately into aggressive promotions and incentives, giving users sort of offers for new migrating users to these platforms, go into partnerships and collaborations with different university organizations, and then go into targeted ad campaigns with testimonials on our website, which sort of help create a consistent user base for our platform. So speaking of advertising, this is the primary method which we're reaching users. We're using Instagram and TikTok advertisements to sort of reach the UT population of 40,000. Of this UT population, we predict that 5% will be interested in becoming buyers or sellers, and then 5% of that will actually become buyers or sellers on our platform. So yeah, here are some key statistics from our revenue model. One is that we get roughly roughly $2 of our average revenue per purchase is given to SafeTrade. And this is using a 5% transaction fee charged to both parties. Here's the profit for SafeTrade. As you can see, it's pretty steady, and we're utilizing network effects which occur from users sort of interacting with each other. And as the app grows and more users become attracted to it as a place to buy and sell, they'll be more interested in obviously getting on the platform. So here's our goal timeline. Currently, we have the features that we talked about earlier, sort of like the location verification, the marketplace, the UTID, and our next steps are to verify payments within the app, a discount program, a referral code, and a potential expansion into online products such as concert tickets or things like that. But those sort of require more intricacies within the app. So yeah, thank you, and we're open for questions.
So network effects, can you tell me more about the network effects you're taking advantage of besides just the social?
Yeah, so this was sort of in like the aggressive discount and like promotions and the marketing campaign that we had earlier. So we think that a program where maybe you could gain like more advertising, or it would optimize your sort of like listing earlier if you're able to refer a friend, or maybe you're able to get some sort of like $10 voucher to be able to use to buy other products on our website. Sort of just those promotions, which we think that like other applications like such as eBay or something like that would sort of utilize to maybe gain existing population with something that we would utilize to get more users.
Thank you.
Yeah, so really nice demo, by the way. What's like the main advantages would have over something like UT by Sell, where Facebook Marketplace has a verification where like the owners can choose to go ahead and only like 2 students. So like, what advantage does it have over that?
Yeah, I can take this question. So yeah, essentially, what we saw from the skit, Chenny probably used Snapchat stories or Facebook Messenger to sort of meet the person, but at the end of the day, you don't know who's across the screen, right? We think that the UTEID verification makes it so that you're only able to trade with UT students, which also ensures accountability. We take their UTID, so if any fraud or if you're in danger in any capacity, you're able to report it, and SafeTrade can take measurable steps to sort of fix that. And the second thing is the location meetup spots, which are mandated through our app, sort of ensure safe transactions are there so that something that happened to Chenny wouldn't happen to users in the future. So yeah.
And what happens if something bad does happen?
Right. So yeah, in the worst case scenario, in the event that does happen, SafeTrade would be able to contact like the police or maybe just like UT authorities to sort of figure out what was the student responsible, get a better grasp of the situation, and take like whatever steps that they need to ensure that
And that could be implemented with like something like Noonlight, where you press a button and if you release it, you're in danger, or what?
Oh, within the app while the trade is going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be a feature that we could implement. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Yes.
Another thought on top of that is in the case that maybe it is a safe trade, like there's no like physical harm, but their product does have a defect. So you can't necessarily bring this to the UT police, for example. But even though maybe this product defect wasn't caused by your business, it still does have negative impacts on your reputation. How do you plan to overcome that?
Yeah, so I think, in the case that, you do end up with a defective product, once again, the sort of EID accountability system does actually help out with that, because number one, we are able to, blacklist the seller or like go into further steps to see like, okay, what is the seller doing and what is their transaction history been with us and who this person really is. And the second thing that SafeTrade might be able to do, since we sort of are a large organization that is able to take on some sort of risk, we might be able to give them a discount or like, like if you Uber Eats something, Uber gives you a portion of the funds back, right? To sort of help with the customer experience. So eventually, if we get a platform enough, we're able to do that, implementing that would be a good idea.
We have time for one last question.
Your 5% assumptions are incredibly aggressive. What makes you confident you can put those on?
Yeah. So I think eBay uses a 3.75% percentage and Facebook Marketplace obviously doesn't, right? Like they just interact with that. Through our A/B testing, we found that most users were comfortable with paying 5%. And our average transaction, our average transactions are roughly in the $10 to $20 range. So 5% of that, we put that in terms of what users would be willing to spend. And through our A/B testing, they're pretty comfortable paying that price on both ends.
Any idea what the volume of transactions would typically be?
Yeah, so we have that
college campus?
attendance. Yeah, so sort of our total number of buyers at the end of the 12 months is roughly like 500. That's a pretty reasonable assumption that we guess from the 5% to 5% of 400 of the 40,000 that we're sort of interacting with. So yeah, that roughly be the amount of transactions. We did the lower of the buyer and the sellers, and yeah, that's the amount of revenue we'd be able to make with the number of transactions.
Awesome. Thank you, SafeTrade.
Thank you.
Oh, wise counselor, I can cut. I'm looking for an efficient solution to park my royal chariot, but I have found no luck.
Oh, great Pharaoh, if only there was a way to find parking for your chariot as effortlessly as you rule your kingdom. But picture this, a mystical scroll that could connect you to a vast network of parking spaces ready to reserve at your command.
A mystical scroll? How would this work?
Behold, the inventors present to you this mystical parking scroll, Park Up. With just a few taps, you can find, reserve, and enjoy premium parking spaces throughout your kingdom. It's like Airbnb, but for parking.
A mystical scroll that unveils the conveniences of parking for my chariot? I need to know more about this. Let us embark on this journey to the future. Introducing Park Up. My name is Aaron.
I'm Aditya.
I'm Kayla.
And I'm Oscar.
And the problem we're addressing today is the West Campus parking inefficiency crisis. This problem is very large, but it also exists here in Convergent. In our very own Slack, we see Avi asking if anybody is subleasing a parking spot during spring, and Mahika is looking for a parking spot in the 26th area. This is a crisis in our own community. And we see this in a very broad level as well. In our West Campus apartments, there are residents from the Crest that express concerns about parking inconvenience and expenses. We see residents from Quarters talking about a lack of parking. And from the Castilian, we see individuals talking about parking congestion around the parking crisis, specifically traffic congestion. Therefore, our group created ParkUp, an efficient platform for West Campus residents and UC affiliates to find and sublease available garage parking spots.
Look no more, Park in 4. Simply download the ParkUp app and log in, look for available spots in your area, or put your spot up to sublet if you own one, confirm your booking and pay, and finally, ParkUp. Going into our demo, we start with our home screen, which has available spots. However, going left to right, we have an activity console where you can see your active and upcoming reservations, as well as a history of past reservations that you have made. Going back to one of our main features, we have a map where you can see various open reservations around your area. These are indicated by the blue markers. We can also filter for open spots by their available dates, their prices, as well as some additional filters like disability parking if you need those. Going to the top, we can search for specific locations to see if there's a parking spot available at that location. We can click into the location to see various details about it, as well as its price, and we can also book that reservation. Our next main feature is if you have a parking spot that you want to sublet, simply go to ParkUp Setup, enter in the location of your parking spot, and once this location has been confirmed, you will be prompted to enter various details like instructions, the price, available dates, as well as some verification. In this case, we have a government ID right now, and you're all done. Our final page is just a simple profile page where you can adjust various account details.
How does everyone benefit from ParkUp? First, the West Campus apartments lease out their parking spaces to both residents and non-residents, who can then sublet their space to those looking for parking in the area through ParkUp. A convenience fee will be charged to both the host of the parking spot and the subletter. Half of the revenue earned by ParkUp will then go back to the West Campus apartment. The total available market encompasses all major college campuses across the country and their parking spaces, which is worth around $95 million. Our serviceable available market includes all residential West Campus parking spaces, which is totals to about $8.7 million. And finally, we are focusing on 12 West Campus apartments right now, which is worth around $7.65 million.
As for our competitors, Pavement, Spot Hero, and Park Mobile, ParkUp offers short-term parking solutions. ParkUp also offers parking garage security alongside Spot Hero and Park Mobile. However, ParkUp is unique in incentivizing users to make additional income while also improving the availability and accessibility of long-term parking in West Campus. So what's next? We're currently working on finalizing apartment approval and logistics, enhancing safety parking features, and ensuring user authentication and security. Ultimately, ParkUp offers convenience, an incentive for users to make additional income, and also increases the number of available spots in West Campus. Hopefully, these factors will attract new visitors or longtime Longhorn fans to park in the West Campus neighborhood when visiting for games or other events on campus. So we found a modern solution to an ancient problem. When you park up, the Longhorns are up.
Great job, guys. So could you explain the aspect of it going through the apartments? Or I don't understand how that ties into the parking lot.
So West Campus has like a ton of apartments and apartment complexes. We met with a few, including like American Campus, which has around 6 apartment complexes in West Campus, also Quarters. We met with them in person, and we also tried to email them, but we didn't get a lot of information from them. So yeah, that's definitely in our next steps of just trying to finalize like the logistics, because I know a lot of spaces have like parking passes, so that's definitely something that.
So the space goes along with the apartment?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So apartments, I've sold to apartments that are really hard, disjointed network. But since it's their space, the extent to which they've background check their residents, they've like credit check them, they know who they are. What sort of information do they need about the person subleasing that's who's going to be on their property to ensure that they're a real person, that they're safe, and all of that?
Yeah, so in our demo, we kind of discussed that the subletter would provide a government ID. And since we're basing this off of Airbnb, I know Airbnb also provides a selfie when trying to reserve make their reservation. So I guess those two would go hand in hand, but that's also something that we're aiming to enhance in our next steps.
or I have a kind of a follow-up. Is there, so clearly this is a very specific problem based on the audience response. But are there other compatibility concerns you would have if you expanded this to other locations? With regard to like how, where parking is, maybe how lots are numbered, whether there's gate access, things like that.
Yes, so that's a lot of that is kind of in our next steps along with like the verification and security. It's kind of just dealing with how outside residents that are not part of this apartment system can get access to these private parking spaces. And so that's kind of the aspect of how we're trying to work with the apartments themselves to create that feature that allows that ease of access while still creating a safe environment. Likewise, in terms of expandability, we already have contacts with some condos, as well as in addition to apartments. And this can also be expanded to various other college campuses throughout the nation. It's not just a problem that exists here in West Campus. It's a very common problem throughout the nation.
One more question.
I have a question about the convenience fee. How much is it? Because even if you're selling it, just
Yeah, so we're basing this off of Airbnb, and through their business model, we kind of based ours similarly. So we're charging 5% for hosts and 30% for subletters. And basically how this works is on average on West Campus, we're looking at $150 per month for non-residents parking at apartments and $125 per month for residents living on parking on apartments. So if we're looking at the per day per spot rates, it totals to around $1.69 for non-residents and $1.41 for residents. And since half of that goes back to the apartments, our revenue per spot per day would be 85 cents and 71 cents.
And it may not seem like a lot, but this is per spot per day. Just in West Campus alone, there's thousands of parking spots. And as we expand further and further through the state and even throughout the nation, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of parking spots. So there's a lot of room to expand, which can bring up our profitability by a lot.
Thank you, Park Up. You want to do the film?
This is 51-year-old driver. He's a long-distance truck driver, and last year he was driving from Texas to California. But the night before, he didn't get much sleep, and he was having a hard time keeping his eyes open at the wheel. Brian is unfortunately no longer here with us today because he fell asleep at the wheel. Brian is one out of 25. This is how many people experience drowsy driving in a year.
Furthermore, 2.4% of all car accidents involve drowsy driving. That's 328,000 drowsy driving accidents every year, of which 6,400 result in death. And what's worse is researchers estimate that the actual numbers for drowsy driving accidents is 350% greater than what is reported. This is a problem. Long distance truck drivers need a way to detect drowsiness while driving because falling asleep at the wheel can be fatal and costly. That's why we created Wake Wheel. My name is Diego.
I'm Pranav.
I'm Denise. And I'm Grace.
And along with the rest of my team, we've created Wake Wheel, extreme sleep that prevents drowsy driving, especially for long distance truck drivers. Wake Wheel keeps track of a driver's BPM through sensors. It takes note of a driver's falling heart rate, indicating that they're falling asleep. Wake Wheel then sends an alert through a vibration or an alarm. And Wake Wheel also keeps track of data analytics on its dashboard for better insight on better prevention of drowsy driving. Now let's take a look at Wake Wheel in action.
This is Rudy. He's a truck driver and he's currently driving from Texas to California.
However, he didn't get much sleep last night and is now falling asleep. However, with Wake Wheel, we can track this using our heart rate sensors and our accelerometer and provide a vibration to wake him up. We can also send alerts to our dashboard so the supervisor can now contact him and then advise him on what steps to take. The supervisor can also look at his previous drives through our archive and look for any current patterns to prevent this issue. We created Wake Wheel using an ESP microcontroller that controls our heart rate sensor and an accelerometer. For software, we use Arduino IDE to program the device, and we stored the device data into a Firebase server, which then works with our React front-end website.
We would like to start out locally by targeting our serviceable obtainable market of 6,500 truck drivers in Austin. Eventually, we would like to expand statewide and nationwide to our 3.5 million truck drivers in the United States. After analyzing our competitors, we've determined that they all have systems that track respiration rates, heart rates, eye movements, head positioning, and other signals that may show a driver is falling asleep. However, although all 4 products have similar goals of maintaining driver safety, we have found that our product, Wake Wheel, is superior when it comes to ease of setup, maintaining a sense of privacy, and also providing extremely accurate results and data. Now, in regards to our customers, our target market is B2B trucking companies. Our revenue is going to come from charging on a monthly basis of $30 per month, in addition to charging on a cost per unit basis, varying depending on the size of the company.
We'll launch Wake Wheel in 3 direct methods. The first is by setting up at trucking trade shows. This is a prime spot for truckers and their respective companies. We'll then be initiating personal contact to local Austin trucking. And finally, we'll be placing advertising in trucking magazines. These 3 methods are effective because it targets our niche audience of truckers in streams that best appeal to them. Our next steps include launching a driver-side app, which comes equipped with a personal profile, current analytics, and past data, which can then be personalized to trucking companies for better use. We'll also be investing in research and development for more advanced detection of things like strokes and seizures. And we'll even be looking to expand from a steering wheel sleeve to a physical steering wheel itself for better detection. Next, we'll be looking into alternative modes of transportation, such as buses, trains, and more. Remember that statistic from earlier, 1 out of 25. That's how many people experience drowsy driving in 1 year. With Wake Wheel, we can make that number 0 for Brian and for everyone else on the road. Thank you, and we're now.
Literally last night, my friend called Josh in his car because he was too sleepy and he's sleepy at the wheel and drowsy. And so my question is, I'm actually just really curious and excited about the technology and how you're going to be implementing the heart rate stuff, because there are people who have varying heart rates and some just have a naturally low heart rate. So I'm wondering about that, and then also about the other sensors you guys are going to implement. Maybe if it's just in the future, I'm just super curious.
Yeah, so one thing we want to mention is that what's great about our product is that it's customizable at the beginning. So we also recognize that a lot of people have different resting heart rates. So we have something to be able to set that at the beginning and kind of get a feel for what a person's resting heart rate might be, so that it tracks that falling heart rate and not necessarily a low heart rate.
Yeah, and next steps, we are planning on creating an app for the driver's side, and through this, they can input their information in their profile, and we can use some sort of ML algorithm to best detect what heart rate and at what rate of change they're falling asleep at.
Also, if we can go to the Figma, to the driver profile. So in the Figma, when we go to the driver profile, we'll have a little section where it has some information on the current driver. So for example, right here, Sebastian, we're looking at his most recent drive, but next to that drive, we have some of his basic information like his height, weight, and other medical conditions he may have.
One comment, I feel like this will integrate really well with fleet management software. And so y'all were saying that it's easy, it's easier than some of the competitors to install it. I'm wondering, what is the installation process?
Yeah, so our thing is a sleeve. So that's super easy just to attach to any sort of steering wheel that comes with it. While our competitors, with when Denise can pull it up, our competitors are companies that use camera technology. So they're not necessarily measuring BPM. They're requiring this installation of a camera that detects eye movement, which also may not be as accurate.
So yeah, adding on to what Grace said, one thing that really makes our product unique is its ability to be attachable and detachable. And it's one of its major benefits is its easy setup process. So moving into like analyzing more of our competitors, Seeing Machine's eye tracking system and the Harken project are all like, they require the system being already embedded into the car, which is why it's pretty difficult to like have for a multiple variety of different trucks with like all different systems, whereas ours is detachable.
Well, I wanted a functional question. Were you guys going to maybe put sound and other alerts, because I know it's vibration, it could be a little bit more intense?
Yes, we definitely want to add in better vibration motors that can vibrate a lot more, but we had to remove the beeper, otherwise it would have been beeping the whole time. So, but that's very easy to implement, and we had that.
Okay.
Is there a risk of like overstimulating the driver and potentially making them suddenly brake and then cause like a back end collision or suddenly press the gas?
Yeah, the aim for this is to have everything customizable. It's up to the company to choose which features they want. They can use the sound or they can just stick vibration. Right now, the vibration is pretty subtle, so we would increase it, but we wouldn't have any noises that would really distract you. The beeps are pretty faint, enough to wake you up, but not enough to cause any main distractions.
Thank you, Wake Wheel.
Yes.
You got this.
Hi, my name is Maya.
Oh my gosh, Maya, you're stuttering again?
I'm sorry, I can't help it.
On demo day?
You ladies all right?
Reporting live from Cable 12 News. Who are you and why are you here?
I'm Stutter, and I'm doing this because I care.
And would you say you're the new hero in town?
Yes, I would.
You've heard it here, folks. We have a new hero in town, and their name is Stutter.
Stutter. Hi, my name is Wendy.
I'm Jonathan.
My name is Gari.
My name is Isaac, aka Maya.
This is our team, and this is what we'll be covering in today's presentation. So let's first address the problem. You all have met Maya, our poor victim from the earlier incident. She is a 17-year-old high school student who has a stutter. After speaking with Maya, we found that she experiences stigmatization of her stutter at school. She struggles with self-confidence when it comes to advocating for herself, and she's also seeking a community of similar students to connect with. So what could Stutter provide Maya to help her meet her needs? We are providing Maya an interactive and accessible way of practicing speech while instilling positivity and confidence. Features that we'll be giving Maya include things like weekly challenges to help build her self-confidence when it comes to advocating for herself in real-world situations, for example, ordering a cup of coffee. Next, we have community groups to remind her that area of similar peers to connect with. And lastly, we have our educational modules to help relieve the stigma around stuttering. These features are supported by the one and only CARE model, standing for communication, advocacy, resiliency, and education. This model was concluded upon professional insight, which was gathered through user interviews with speech professionals.
We spoke with Teresa Ramosi, the president of the Lane Stuttering Institute, who states that traditional speech therapy models aim to fix, cure stuttering, while the care model advocates for open stuttering, which we stutter have committed ourselves to. So we want to note that stutter is not here to cure. Now we'll see a live demonstration of the mobile application.
Our application is React Native on the front end and Firebase on the back end. A quick walkthrough of our app will show the user logging in. And upon logging in, they'll be welcomed to the home screen where they can see the weekly challenges up above, the events we're pushing down below, and the educational modules to navigate stuttering. In the community tab, they'll be welcomed to discussions where they can join in live video streams. Lastly, in the activity tab, the user can see all of the activity other users are generating within the app. And in the profile tab, they can see their journal and their daily affirmation. Now let's get into business.
For our app, we chose a subscription-based model to obtain recurring revenue from our customers. To hook our customers, we're starting off with a 1-month free trial, which gives our customers access to 3 very important features, including our weekly challenges, our education modules, as well as our event calendar. After our free 1-month trial, we offer our customers 2 options to purchase our app, including a $6.99 a month payment, or they can choose to save 40% by purchasing our app for $49.99 a year. This gives our customers the option to have our app for ad-free, as well as access to our public feed and community groups. Moving on, our TAM includes people in the United States who have speech disorders, which totals to around 18.5 million people. Our SAM includes people in Texas with stutters, which totals to around 300,000 people. And with our app Stutter, we are choosing to target people in the greater Austin area with stutters, which totals to around 23,500 people. Now, Isaac, what about our competitors?
So as Maya, I'm looking around, right, trying to figure out what app can help me the most. Well, fortunately, we only have one really main competitor, and that is Stimulate. However, as we said, they are a traditional speech therapy app. They're trying to help you through repetitive practices by not doing real world examples and not really instilling any confidence in the real world. This is where Stutter comes in and has that care model. Now, of course, a model can be easily replicated. We want to build a imitation resistant value chain as well as have a sustainable competitive advantage. How are we going to do that? Simple. We are going to, of course, flesh out the offerings we have now while implementing AI for gamification as well as personalization.
So we want to leave you with a message that Stutter is not here to cure. Stutter is here to care. Thank you.
You mind slide go back to that slide that says the different solutions that y'all have, some challenges and
Yeah, I would also like clarification for that. That was my question. Could you go more in depth on this?
About the challenges?
more just the solutions that y'all are providing in general for people.
Yeah, I think that kind of goes to with my question of like clarifying if you're not like, do you categorize yourself as like a health, community, education, and sort of like how do those things fit together? Like
well, that's the great thing about Stutter is that it actually encompasses a lot of those things, right? So Stutter, right, we are still having that practice, but without like so much emphasis on it. So STEM, right? So when I was growing up, I did a lot of speech therapy, right? I stuttered, I still have a stutter. So I went to speech therapy and I realized, you know, they just had me say these words. Like literally one of the things was, oh, you need to read this idiom, or like say this or say that, or like they had me repeat like she sells seashells by the seashores a lot. Like that does not really help with Stutter, right, in the real world scenario. Therefore, I realized that there needs to be a better solution for that. And this is where Stutter comes from, right? So the weekly challenges is supposed to incentivize you to really reach out there to like, you know, talk to people, to like order coffee. So one thing great about the weekly challenge is that we have the opportunity to partner with companies like Starbucks, right? We're going to give them an incentive for them to be like, hey, can we, you know, partner with you to like help, you know, people with Stutters to outreach and get coffee, right? Therefore, people will have that incentive to go out there. We can give them like the Starbucks points and give them like the app incentive. Now, the community groups is like a way to like talk to people as well as like, you know, just like overall just like communicate. It's along the lines of social media. And we're trying to collaborate as well as have more people talk to each other so they can practice their speech patterns, as well as talk about the things that they struggle with, the things they face with, and how to build confidence in that sense. And the education models, as I explained, is of course going to be through, you know, repetition, things like that, but less focused on.
What other solutions are there out there on the market right now? Are there other community building online platforms?
So yes,
starters who have started?
yes. So as we go back to our competitors, right? So there's Samurai. Now Samurai is actually the only big competitor. They have basically all the same operating except they don't use the caramel. They do have a community feature, but we realized through like using their apps as well as like looking through interviews and things like that, we realized that they actually are they are overreaching their boundaries in the sense that like they basically have all things but not good in like any. So we realized that they're our main competitors. There's not really a solution like another company that does this the way that we're doing it using the care model, and that provides us that advantage or that difference.
We have time for one more question if there's one.
You guys consider exploring all the possibility of using like your integration to simulate like remote scenarios where they can practice like talking in an actual setting that would mimic like real life?
Yeah, so that's where the gamification aspect comes in, right? So we're trying to like utilize AI things like that to really be able to like basically we want to have the app to be able to like hear and understand your voice as well as like, hear part to look for those discrepancies in your stutter. So that's like the part of the gamification process. Of course, the technology is right now very limited in a sense, and we actually talked to a professor called Jun Wang, and he actually specializes in something that's really cool. So how they have like this technology that like that can gather information relating to like how people speak. So there's like they have I'm not a professional in this by any sense, but the breakdown is they have like these wires and then like they touch people's brains, and then when they talk, they could then be able to like track like the basically how neurons fire, things like that. They can like try and detect like words. And of course, he's also making a device for the mouth when people speak. So that way, when we're trying to get information to do that AI, we can use those type of technologies to help implement that AI as well as create just a virtual game where people talk on that.
Thank you, Setter.
And then retake each one day by.
All right, everybody, listen up. Have you heard of the news that this headline is referring to? Well, what about this headline? Or maybe this headline? Well, newsflash, all three headlines are talking about the exact same event. These articles were published within 1 week of each other, but because they're from three different sources, they present the event in completely different ways. This is something me and my team wanted to research and address.
So, what's the problem? In our society today, it's become evident that many of us are either uninformed or being misled to in terms of the news that we consume. This is because of two main reasons. One, news articles are often too long and they contain too much fluff. And two, most readers are struggled with detecting bias in the media. Based on our individual surveying and the Pew Research Center, we found that a whopping 92% of US adults are only willing to spend 4 minutes or less reading a long-form news article. This is a problem because the average reader reads at a pace of 250 words per minute, and that is simply not enough time. More importantly, only 84%, a whopping 84% of US adults see that fake news is a major issue.
So how do we combat these issues? Well, we present our solution, Clarify. Clarify is the one-stop solution for users to help them digest news articles and get a bias evaluation. So how does Clarify work? Well, a user could just go to an article or select an excerpt from an article, and then they'd open the Chrome extension, which they've downloaded, and then the pop-up, paste the article, or click on the summary button and get a summary and a bias evaluation. So let's do a quick demo real quick. Here we have a Fox News article, a known source of slightly biased news, right? So what I want to do, I want to get a summary and a bias evaluation for this article. So I have my extension downloaded in the top right, straight from the Chrome Web Store. I'm going to click on it, and there we have the Create Summary for Article button. When we click on that button, we're going to get a 100-word summary, as well as a number or a metric for the bias evaluation for this article. And we also have the ability to copy a summary if you'd like to do that. But most of the time, you don't want to get the entire article summary. You want to get like a portion of it if you're researching something. So I'm going to select exactly the part that I want to, summary and the bias evaluation for, paste it into the text box in the extension, and get a summary and the bias evaluation for that as well. Numbers a little bit different, it might be a preamble. I mean, we all know that's a little off, but it could still be like that.
Now, what specifically is Clarify's business model? Let's start with the market analysis of who specifically would buy Clarify. We'll start with the total addressable market, where 75 million Americans read news on a daily basis. And out of that 75 million, 5 million believe that there are issues in both bias and the length of the articles. We can deduce down 1% of this value, or 50,000 people who will install Clarify. Now, what is the pricing of Clarify? Clarify is a cheap $1.99 for one-time purchase for permanent access to the product, making it affordable for a vast majority of individuals in our target demographic. Now, taking a look at a competitive analysis of how Clarify stacks up with everyone else, we can see that Clarify blows them out of the water. Clarify is the only product that offers the three main features of article summarization, bias detection, and a bias rating, things that consumers want the most in the market based on our findings. Now, what are the marketing strategies for Clarify? We have two main approaches. First is a go-to marketing strategy based on Google Ads specifically targeted on news searches, which directly targets our target market and specifically allows for us to target individuals most likely to download Chrome extensions. And second is through a 10-article free trial period, which will increase our initial demand for the product and allow us for opportunities for expansion in the future. Now, let's talk about Clarify's next steps. And we'll start with the business approach, which is collaboration with large news corporations. This provides two main benefits to the corporations, while simultaneously providing us with a stable revenue source. First, it allows journalists to test the objectivity of their articles prior to publication, increasing the overall quality. And second, it allows news executives to internally monitor the progress and status of their employees and how objective they're being, increasing the efficiency of internal operations while simultaneously giving them a method to decide which employees provide the most value towards their goals.
And with any good product, we'd like to roll out new features for our users. So as we continue Clarify into the future, we'd like to add related article suggestions so that the little related article could come up under the summary in the pop-up. We'd also like for user accounts to be available so they could save those summaries and those articles straight to their account. And this will be available when we roll out our extension to the Chrome web store within the next week. And finally, we'd also like to add author credibility rating. This is similar to how Twitter, the old Twitter used to give the verification checks for certain users.
It's time to bring clarity to the news you're reading. Thank you.
Okay, this is great. Could you guys please clarify further on the how you're actually parsing and defining bias, and then also your credibility rating? We will all probably have that. Yeah.
Yes. So could you go to the last page of that? Yep, there we go. Great question, by the way. So we actually not really use many APIs for the bias evaluation. We decided to create our own algorithm. First we gather a list of journalists who are known to have very biased articles. It's not a bad thing, they're just very public about it. And once we gathered those articles, we took the only the article text, no images, no ads, none of that from the article, and we labeled them as Republican or Democrat or whatever labels we would like to add in the future. Right now it's just those two. Then we use NLP tactics to vectorize the data to make the text into numbers so it's computer readable. And we also then engineered a multi-level perceptron, which is a type of neural net, where we took those features, or we engineered features from those vectors, and we fine-tuned some parameters to get a final machine learning model for the bias evaluation.
And are you going to be including like cognitive biases and logical fallacies, and also if something actually is logical in the sense that does a premise follow logically from the conclusion, that type of thing? Because that's a good way to tell if something is not just valid but also true, validity true.
This is definitely something we'd like to implement in the future. Right now, our models is based off of strictly the text. We haven't been able to add much other cons and features, but when we also do the author credibility, I have to answer that part, but that's for the future. We want to look at related articles, right? We want to look at related articles about how authors of different, or the author, how they write different articles, how much of it is like fake, how much of it is disputed, stuff like that.
Why did you choose to build a model like this, like essentially from scratch, or not use something more that would be easier, like the OpenAI API?
Well, we obviously could have used an API, right? But sometimes, that takes the fun out of the project as well. So we decided to just engineer our own little model. This is something we'd like to work on in the future as well. And we're kind of proud of it. We've definitely put a lot of effort into the team, and we're just gonna see how this goes.
That's kind of one of our main core competencies, because we don't want to just create an empty wrapper product that completely relies on another product, because they might as well just use the product without paying us a fee. So we wanted to create our own model that stands out.
Yeah, I like that this is more tailored. And so for the author credibility, what do you guys say?
Oh, that's a future feature. We haven't implemented that yet, right? But we want to look at related articles.
We want to look at a certain set of known established authors that covers a wide amount of articles, and evaluate whether that established author is credible enough to give a blue check mark or something like that, so that readers know when they see that check mark that there's a certain standard that Clarify has produced.
That's all the time we have. Well, actually, if it's quick.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, when you say that you're collaborative resources, is there potential for that influencing your model?
Yeah, so I'll talk about that a little briefly. So it's a good question. So when we collaborate with news corporations, our goal is to help them become more objective. So when they're coming to us, they want their goals also become more objective. So those two kind of goals kind of align with each other. So specifically, if they want to have like some like internal bias that would check or like change or like, so our internal goals are to make them more objective. So specifically, we're not going to be tailoring to, if they want to make something more subjective, we're not going to be tailoring to them. So specifically, by increasing our objectivity, and they're coming to us as clients to make their products more objective, so they wouldn't necessarily have it.
Awesome, thank you. And
Yeah, I'm reading.
Wow, that outfit is really trash. Yeah, where did you get it from?
I thrifted it.
Haven't you heard of Refit?
Wait, what's Refit?
Oh, Refit is an online thrift store with a built-in stylist which uses keywords from users to generate outfits from current listings. Good evening, everyone. My name is Samhita.
My name is Reese.
And I'm Agana. And today we'll be presenting our product Refit. This is our agenda, and starting off.
So as we can see, this is Meghna, and she's looking for an outfit for an OU game. However, she's very specific about how she styles and shopping sustainably. So she usually shops at thrift stores. The problem is she doesn't have time to go to in-person thrift stores and look through the sizes and styles specifically. So in the end, her outfit is trash. And let's say Samhita over here is trying to sell her OU game outfit. But when she tries selling online, shipping charges are too high and it makes it hard to find buyers. And when she tries selling to thrift stores, she gets very low profits that way. However, with Refit, when we put them together, the buyer and the seller come together, and Meghna finally has her OU.
So Refit has a built-in outfit generator that is customizable. So now Meghna can type in game day and she'll have an outfit generated for her. Now what's even better is that she can customize the parts of the outfit that she doesn't like. She can also search and browse other aesthetics and styles that she likes and save them. Meghna also cares about the impact on the climate. So we have a sustainability score system where users can see the sustainability scores of the clothing. And these scores were calculated when a seller uploads their clothing by answering simple questions such as the material that the clothing is and the number of years it was used. And finally, she can check out by paying and then contact the seller to collect her outfit.
So our user experience begins with the login page. From there, we have the browse page where users can scroll through different aesthetics based on the current listings. Then we have our cart. That's basically everything that they want to buy and a messaging button so they can directly contact the buyer. Here's our profile page, and this we can save whatever styling guides that we want. And now to our integral feature, OpenAI customization. Let's say the OU game is next weekend. Just put in women's game day and football, and GPT-4 will curate an amazing outfit that we can use for game day. I mean, look at me. I'm ready for game day. Lastly, if you want a winter outfit for Texas's chilly nights, just put in men's winter outfit and outdoor activities. Boom, a full-fledged outfit that you can buy right on the spot. By using React Native and Expo, we were able to create a seamless user experience while also utilizing Firebase and GPT-4 as a backbone of our app. Our team narrowed down our target market to UT students interested in online thrifting and styling guides. This amounts to around 21,000 users.
And our competitors include other online thrift stores such as The Real Deal, Poshmark, and ThredUp. And while they are generally affordable and online, we are the only one with a built-in outfit generator, and that focuses on the local college campus area. So being the only app that's online, affordable, that focuses on a local campus, along with a built-in outfit generator, you know that you can be sold on Refit.
So now that you're sold on Refit, how do we get other people to be sold on Refit? The first way we're going to do that is by posting the flyers across campus or across bulletin boards and relying on the social media presence on platforms such as X, TikTok, and Instagram. On top of that, we rely heavily on word of mouth. And the best way to do that is through advertising directly to campus organizations that focus on fashion, such as University Fashion Group or Spark Magazine. So how do we make money off of this? So the main way we make money is through our 5% service fee that we have on each transaction. And as the platform grows, we can rely on other streams such as sponsored items or general advertising. Finally, what are our next steps to grow and improve? So we want to expand beyond clothing, include accessories such as bracelets, necklaces, glasses. We want to somehow include a 3D model so that the users can see what the outfit would probably look like on them. We want to include address proximity so that the buyer can see how far the seller is from them. And then finally, we want to grow and expand our user base. And the best way to do that is to expand to other campuses.
Thank you, Refit, for helping me find an outfit for game day and reducing my carbon footprint.
So now with Refit,
we can reimagine sustainability and style.
Yeah, really like the demo. Is there a way to like customize the generated outfit and like can you change out like a certain piece if you want to look for other ones that match that criteria, or also even simple if it's like I want an outfit like at this price?
Yeah, so on this Figma, you can see that you can customize the tops or the bottoms. This was not included in the demo video, but this is how they can select or like scroll through other tops and bottoms. And sorry, what was your second?
Just like filtering like select a certain price range they want, or other customizations they can user can add.
Yeah, certainly. So also not included in the demo, but we can have like a filters tab so they can set like a maximum price point, and then that'll like reduce the amount of, or that'll narrow down the product that will be shown. Yeah.
Is there any verification on the sustainability score? Because you say it's up to the user who's selling it to upload the material and however long it's been used, and then that will generate the score. So someone could lie about it, right, to get a higher score to make it look better. Is there any verification on that?
Yes, right. So we're using an online sustainability score like generator. It's a verified generator, and they're not going to be scoring their own clothes. So they'll be giving us the information, and we will score the clothes that they're uploading.
Do you more to the competitors and how you guys differentiate?
Yeah, so right now in terms of online thrifting, they're online, of course, and then besides the Real, which focuses on luxury items, they're all generally affordable. But currently, at least in the Austin area, There aren't any that are focused on just the UC campus itself. And then also we mentioned like one of the key features was our like outfit generator, so that like producing an outfit like from top to bottom. And so that's where we make our key differentiation.
Yeah, and there are other platforms that you can use to have outfits generated for you, but these have outfits generated, and you can also buy them from it's from current listings, so you can like directly buy them.
Can someone talk about the tech behind the matching algorithm? Is it generating text based off the images and then matching it based off of the text, or how does that work?
So basically, we get the keywords that people are putting into the app. We take that in with Flask. And so Flask redirects that to our API, which we're using is GPT-4. And then based on those keywords, we have also our Firebase, which also has those keywords. So it connects those two together. So like, for example, when in the tech demo, we put in like women's game day. Based on those keywords that we put in, that's how we're getting like the photos, because each photo is like represented by a keyword. Like when people upload their photos, they only have a certain amount of keywords that they can put in. So like, it's very like obvious which ones that we have listed down.
Yeah, one thing to make it easy to think about is when you think about Instagram posts and you have hashtags that users can put at the bottom, that helps like understand like what that post is about, and that'll like help curate maybe the algorithm to point it to a certain audience.
How do the other competitors matching algorithms do it? Have you all look into that? Are they using like NLP?
No one else does this to generate an outfit. Usually it's users put in outfits like, or like for example, winter clothes, and they just get I don't know, they just generate the outfit, but we haven't looked into the technique on that.
Blackwell is a company that does something with the stylist part.
That's all the time we have for questions. Thank you.
Gen Z, I'm sorry you're all getting bullied so much.
Every year, over 2 million bikes are stolen. Just in America alone, a bike is stolen every 30 seconds. This means annually, over $350 million worth of bikes are stolen. This is very high if you consider the average road bike only costs $350 to $700. For our problem, we decided to make a smart lock, and our problem statement is bikers need a way to monitor their lock bikes to increase confidence in the safety and security of their transportation. And here's the team. I'm Kenneth.
And I'm Lul. And as far as our Brutus lock, we have three major features. So we basically want to determine if we're being robbed, first off. Then, based off of this feedback from our sensor, we take a picture using our camera, and then we use all this footage, we use all this data that we have, and send this real-time footage to our user using push notifications in our app. And as far as the components of our app, we have three major languages. We're using Arduino, we're using React Native, and we're using Google Firebase in order to collect all our data using our lock. And as far as the more nitty-gritties and our actual hardware, we have our ESP board, we have our ESP board, we have our vibration sensor, and our camera. And now for the wonderful demo. So we made sure that this is really easy to integrate into your lock system. So we included a thread in here in which you can just put your bike lock into the thread, and basically it just comes with the easy installation for our users, as demonstrated in the video. You can adjust the camera as needed if you so choose to, but we designed it to where it's gonna take up the front. And now enter a code. When tampering with a lock, it's gonna register to the database that we are being robbed, unfortunately. Now,
Based off of this, our camera is going to take a picture and then send it to our app, and the user can check at any time or via the push notification that someone is robbing. Unfortunately, I'm being robbed and I took action. Please know I do not condone violence.
Now onto our target market. So we decided to specifically only focus on bike enthusiasts in Austin to start, and that's around 20,000. But all of these numbers will be a lot higher as we make Brutus not only a bike lock, but also a scooter lock, a door lock, basically a lock for anything. But that'll be discussed on our next steps. Now to our competitors. As you can see, we're the only smart lock company that offers a camera sensor, universal lock compatibility, a mobile app, and full weatherproof protection, all at an unbeatable price of $100. You can see for our competitors, all of them only offer up to 2 of the features, and they charge as high as $275. For our go-to-market, first, we want to start with retail. This will be done through outdoor stores like REI and also local bike shops. Next is online, which we'll place a huge emphasis on, as we'll have a huge advertising expense for it. This will be done through online retailers and also social media, like the TikTok shop and Instagram shop. Lastly, will be events. We'll be hosting pop-ups at local bike events, local races to sell directly to the consumer. For our revenue model, we're going to have 2. First, it's the bike lock, which is $100, and then we have an annual $36 maintenance fee. This will be used to cover app expenses for the app and also the SIM. For our next steps, we first plan the pilot launch in Austin. For step 2, we're going to partner with Texas 4000, which is a UT bike club, and also the Ironman, which is a triathlon organization. Step 3, we're going to add GPS and cellular capabilities, which we did try to do through this microcontroller, but we didn't get this in time to fully implement it. And step 4, this is what I talked about earlier, which is Brutus 2.0, which will make Brutus not only a bike lock, but also a lock for everything. For your scooters, your mailboxes, your door, anything you can think of. And also come with a full redesign. As you can see, our MVP right now is made out of plastic, but we plan to make this out of aluminum. And Brutus 2.0 also include a full mobile app rehaul. Thank you, and we're now open for questions.
Camera seems like a really interesting differentiator. Why price so low compared to your competitors when you have such a key feature differentiation?
Because we realize the smart lock industry, it's very high end and only they target many high end consumers. So we decided to introduce a lower cost entry option, and there's not that much competitors under 150. So that's why we decided to price it very low at 100. And the whole overall the smart lock industry is kind of underdeveloped right now, and not a lot of people are using it. So I decided to price it low.
I have a follow-up question to the price. So if you price it low, I understand how price penetration. That might simplify that you guys have low quality, at least in the consumer perspective. How do you guys overcome that?
Well, we're still using high quality parts. We're gonna have aluminum housing, which is not as high end as other competitors, which use metal, titanium stuff. But we just basically want to be a lower entry to the smart lock industry.
Have you testing maybe with your A/B, an A/B testing? Maybe ask people at what price point they think is affordable but still has good quality, because I understand you're going to use good materials. It's just I'm afraid consumers may not know that or initially think that when they see this price.
We haven't conducted A/B testing, but through market research, we realized that there's just not that many low cost smart locks. So yeah, I guess the quality is not going to be as high as the high end ones, because we're targeting more of a lower end markets, just a general bike enthusiast, not the hardcore bikers and stuff the high end companies are.
So to clarify, is the notification sent, is that through motion sensoring, or how does it know it's being tampered with?
So as far as the details with our vibration sensor picks up basically picks up feedback every 0.5 seconds. If at every 0.5 seconds for the next 3 seconds that there's motion or there's some sort of triggering, or someone's shaking the lock or trying to tamper with it, we basically prompt the camera to take a picture, and then from there we can recognize in our database that we uploaded a new picture to our database, notify the user that our bike is being tampered with.
What is the purpose of uploading the picture? Why not send a notification directly? Because it doesn't seem like it's all motion sense or vibration sense, right? Why do you need a picture?
Well, in some cases, let's say for example, like you're away from your phone and well, the crook runs away with your bike and oh well. But as long as you have the picture, then at the very least you'll be able to like have some sort of details on who robbed you, or like at least have some sort of general like idea of like what's going on in the situation.
Yeah, right now also lost bikes, only 1 in 5 is gonna be returned. So we kind of want to up that statistic, and with a picture we could more easily file like a police report to like raise the chances of finding your bike again.
It seems like they could just cover it like the camera. Thank you.
Well, that's part of our next steps. We plan on integrating more cameras at the very least, because we recognize that in our prototype right now we have 1 camera, but it can only get the front. So we want to integrate at least 2 cameras, 2 wide cameras at the moment to get the front and back, because anybody can rob from basically a 360. And on top of that, what we were working on earlier was being able to like, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Ring, but as somebody's approaching the door, it notifies the user. We're trying to basically account for that, and we're trying to do something similar to where as someone's approaching the bike, we may be able to like set a push notification that hey, somebody is attempting or maybe attempting to rob our bike. Although the push notifications may be a little bit excess, at least it guarantees the safety of the user.
Last question.
I think that's sending user interviews or customer interviews and to see if users actually feel safer with having a camera, like just have a lock on their bike. So it doesn't actually stop anyone from stealing the bike, right?
Unfortunately, that may not, but however, it definitely to a degree can prevent can somewhat prevent lots or from robberies from being happen. Because in our future steps, we also plan on having a way to like notify like whoever's robbing that hey, like you are being filmed, because we can just like make sounds with our lock, and hopefully like that can somewhat prevent what's going on in the situation.
Thank you for this logic.
Oh, Chase, are you struggling to juggle your classes in school?
Yeah.
Well, we've got the thing for you. Introducing Optimize. Optimize your schedule, optimize your learning. My name is Ayushi and we are Optimize. So you just met Chase. He's a freshman here at UT. And like 72% of students, Chase uses a study planner schedule. However, like 50% of students, Chase and his peers are failing to follow through with their schedule due to lack of incentives and procrastination issues. When it comes to assessment prep, Chase and his peers, they're resorting to memorization instead of comprehension. Furthermore, there are psychological barriers to assessment prep. This phenomenon is called the Ebbinghaus forgetting curve. It's how learned information will slip out of your memory unless we take action to keep it there.
And that's why we invented Optimize. So Optimize is an AI-driven gamified study platform that allows students to study more effectively and efficiently. So to use Optimize, you first input your personal availability and also upload your class syllabi, which in Optimize uses AI to then generate a study schedule that not only fits around your personal schedule, but also uses the spaced repetition study method to help increase learning retention and overcome that Ebbinghaus forgetting curve that we talked about earlier. And what's also unique about Optimize is our gamification, and that as you gain a study streak, you're able to unlock cute accessories that cutify and personalize your own office.
So now let's take a look at our product with a quick demo video. So imagine you're Chase. It's the beginning of the semester and you're stressed out about your classes. You do not want to fall behind, especially not in your psychology class. So first, let's log in and it'll take you to the input page. You will select your event type as a class, and then input your course title, intro to psychology, and upload your syllabus. Now, once the syllabus is uploaded, our algorithm will parse through it and extract the important dates. With these dates, it will analyze and create an optimized study schedule for you, taking into account the Ebbinghaus studying curve, and then put it onto your calendar. And once you have completed it, you can check it off, and it will increase your streak inside of the gamification, and you can unlock unique items as well. And for our tech stack, we use Firebase for backend and React for our frontend. Now let's move on to our business model. Our model is a freemium model, which means you do not have to pay a single penny in order to use our service. You will be limited to 2 syllabi per semester. And after that, you will be able to pay $10 per semester for unlimited syllabi uploads and also additional benefits.
Our target market size includes high school, juniors, seniors, and college students in Austin, Texas, and this makes up for about 160,000 students in Austin, Texas alone, and a projected revenue of 2 million people. We compared Optimize to different competitors, and Optimize stands out because we're based off of the scientific method, and we utilize artificial intelligence as well as built-in gamification to create as most effective schedules as possible. We will market Optimize externally by partnering up with study influencers, as well as using search optimization, search engine optimization tools, and also partner up with schools. Internally, inside of the application, we will implement a referral system as well as offer free rewards so that we can further incentivize students to join our application. So our next steps are how we plan on optimizing Optimize. We hope to include more factors such as a student's energy levels and also sleep schedule and while scheduling. And we will also integrate with Google Calendar and also Canvas for convenience. And lastly, we will have more enhanced gamification features such as a robust notification system.
So why Optimize? We're using education technology and psychology to revitalize a student's desire for true learning. We're also using gamification to motivate our students and overcome that 50% statistic that we mentioned earlier. And that's why you should
optimize your studying.
Oh, look, it's Chase, and he's juggling. Thanks to Optimize.
So is it, I don't know, you might have mentioned this, but is it taking in your actual content that you're learning? Like, does it take in your textbook text or your whatever you're being taught by the teacher so that it can like parse out that actual information?
It's just taking in the syllabus for the course, and then we'll look through it because like syllabus is gonna have like the dates for important tests and assignments, and then it will take those and then use that to create a schedule that will keep you on track and prepared for when that date comes.
Yeah, if that was added, I think that could be really, like, I mean, I would definitely use that if there was the not only knowing your schedule, but then also knowing all the content so that you can know how to break it up for you.
Right, yeah, that can definitely be implemented in the future, and yeah, with some more specific content so you know exactly what to study.
And I would love to add on to that. We were talking about, in the beginning when we were talking about feature prioritization, we were really playing around with this idea of taking in things in addition to your syllabus, like as you mentioned, your textbook, and creating generated questions because we are using AI to create questions to help you motivate you to continue and make sure that you are comprehending and not just memorizing.
Thank you for the suggestion.
What happens when you get off track of your study? Because it seems a bit prescriptive, and there may be like one-off exceptions, or maybe you fall behind, like say, you're saying, okay, like study, I don't know, chapter 3, and you still haven't finished chapter 2. And if you just want to like kind of check it off your list, that what are you doing to make sure people are staying on track and how to prevent fall off?
So that's a great question. that's one of the things that we were considering while designing our application. So first we have an area where people can update what tasks they've completed. And we also have gamification so that we can further incentivize students to follow their schedule, such as, like if they follow their schedule and, click the task according to schedule, then they can earn more points and they can unlock more colors, more octopuses and octopi, I guess. And then if it doesn't go according to schedule, that's why we have AI implemented into our application so that a new schedule can be generated so that students don't have to spend a long time to regenerate and create a schedule of their own.
Can you talk more about the AI implementation in terms of like, what is the AI like model analyzing in order to suggest these times?
Right, yeah, so we did some research regarding the Ebbinghaus learning curve that was just discussed earlier. That's basically just like the drop off of your knowledge over time and the amount that you need to like revisit it in order to keep it in your knowledge. So we have done research for that, and in our algorithm we incorporate the times that we have found, and then make sure that we use that to make sure that you will be prepared for your exams.
Right, but I guess what I'm asking is, why does that require AI? It seems like, right, that can just be kind of managed, or can just be kind of computed. Where does like the, I guess, looking aspect come in?
Right, well, I guess it can also take into account like additional factors such as like the time of day and then your activity. It also looks at like other activities that you have on your calendar, your energy levels, things like that, and that way it's not just a formula and it can be more tailored.
And adding on to that, as mentioned earlier, we're using the spaced repetition learning method. So it uses systematic spaced intervals so that it places it so that you can overcome that Ebbinghaus forgetting curve. And a lot of times with students, we're very busy, we have other tasks going on, and creating a study schedule and having to calculate that manually can take a lot of our personal time. So having AI that's able to generate that for you very quickly is super convenient and is another motivator to use Optimize.
That's all the time we have for questions. Thank you, Optimize. All right, so now we're going to break for judge deliberation. Before we do, I want to give a round of applause to all of the amazing pitches we heard today.
Someone in my accelerator program said something that really stuck out to me, and it's about what makes great founders. The first is that they have incredible imposter syndrome. They doubt themselves every day and wonder if they're going to actually be able to make it work. But the second and third thing help them overcome that. And it's this deep stubbornness and resilience about believing that what they're building is something the world absolutely needs, and a deep belief that they are meant to do something great. And so there's going to be sort of winners and losers in what we did today, but keep going, stick with it, especially if you feel like what you're working on and the things you're passionate about are something the world needs to have, and you're the person to bring it to them. With that, I'm going to announce our honorable mention goes to High Grade.
Jesse, none of those are.
Okay, cool. Yeah. It's High Grade. Maybe like
I'll have something for you all right afterwards.
Well, we had to choose one, and we thought the best product overall in terms of target market and business model and all that, the best business, we're going to give it to Parka. Yeah. I think a lot of the best businesses, you have an issue that's really close to home, and the founders are really familiar with the problem, and that was the case here. There's a lot of passion in this group. Yeah. Yeah, of course.
All right, guys. So design is something that's very important. It conveys a lot of things. It conveys how the users, the customer should feel, kind of what your product is doing. And overall, the one we picked, it was not only in the UI UX design, but also was very consistent overall in the presentation itself. This one, 8. I hate myself for that one, but give it up for Optimize.
Right, everyone?
So now for best tech, this is definitely a tough choice. There's a lot of great products out there with great backends, a lot with great designs and front ends, but there was one group that really brought both together, delivered a really fully fleshed out product that was end to end and shown during their demo, and that team is Safe Trade.
All right, next for our best presentation. So this team didn't only just this team didn't only just present well, but they included lots of inside jokes and things into their not inside jokes. They presented a serious problem to an audience and displayed it well. So this team is Blair. Okay.
Okay, thanks, y'all.
Okay, so first, can I get a drum roll, please, everyone? So there were so many great projects to choose from. First of all, we are very proud of everyone, and it was such a close competition. I believe all the judges in the room can definitely agree. We definitely went over time for a reason. And there was one team that did stand out. This is because they identified a problem that we in this room, everyone knows that either themselves, a friend, family member, relative, or someone they look up to has gone through this. And this team identified that problem, provided a solution that binds together our entire community and threw ourselves behind a mission larger than ourselves. It was a functional product, and we could see it fit into the everyday world, thinking about our community at large. And with that, we present. Wait.
And one final round of applause for everyone who presented tonight. I just want to say I'm simply blown away at the amount of progress all of y'all made over the course of one semester. We had 18 teams present tonight, and every single one had a fantastic presentation. And I want to thank all of you for coming tonight and making it such a memorable and wonderful night. Thank you. Awesome.